Om Shri Sai Ram. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you all had a refreshing break and are ready for an exciting and insightful session thereon. As we step into the afternoon, it is often said that post-lunch sessions can be a bit of a challenge, but not today. Our next speaker is someone who is bound to grab your attention with a wealth of knowledge and inspiring journey. It's my pleasure to introduce Ms. Rajeshwari Natarajan, a distinguished leader with 20 years of experience in the financial services industry, particularly in the banking and investment management sectors. Over her extensive career, she has made significant strides in areas such as securitization transaction services, business controls testing, and risk assurance. Currently, Ms. Natarajan serves as a managing director at Deloitte India, where she has successfully led key business strategies, built critical client teams, and collaborated with leadership on numerous initiatives. As an esteemed alumnus of our campus, it's a privilege to witness someone who once walked through all these portals reach such extraordinary heights in the corporate world. Her journey is a true testament to the potential that every student carries here. With a wealth of experience and passion for leadership, Ms. Natarajan is here to share her journey and insights, guiding the next generation of professionals to know how to build successful careers in the corporate world. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Rajeshwari Natarajan.
Sairam to one and all. As she mentioned that, it's going to be a difficult task afternoon, right? I thought my session was pre-lunch and I'm like, okay, even then it was going to be difficult because how do you, give a speech that is so inspiring like Rajeshri ma'am's and Subhashri ma'am, right? But nevertheless, I'll start and I'll see how much I can, keep you engaged after lunch. I'm Rajeshwari Natarajan, Managing Director with Deloitte. It's the US India offices. I know it says Deloitte India, it is US India offices. I've been working for the past 21 years. I'm an alumnus of this institute. So today I was very confused in the morning. Am I a speaker here or am I a student here? Right? And then that confusion had to sort of, evolve more towards as the day progressed. I was getting better and I was just going and looking around every single place of the institute where we have walked, where we have sat and then, studied so much. A lot of our dreams were made here, right? Those are very primitive years, of studying and absorbing everything from the institute. Swami is always there, but he was in physical form to guide us. So, a single call from Parthi, all of us would pack and leave. So those were those wonderful memories of how we have lived our, our graduation days, I would say. So, talking a little bit more about myself, I did BCom honors here. Then I went on to do my MBA from Madras University. Then I've been working in the financial service industry for about 21 years, as you all know. But then at the family side, I'm settled in Hyderabad now. My husband and two boys. I actually call them three boys. 15 years and the 9-year-old that I've left behind with a lot of instructions. Since last night, I don't know how much of the house will be left when I go back, but hoping they'll do fine. But yeah, it's been a wonderful journey, and I mentioned right, it's not been easy. Like all of our earlier speakers have said, we have to acknowledge that we are wired differently, and I think I would repeat that to say that every time I was challenged in my professional life, I have to remind myself that I am different and I don't have to do the same things that others do. And I have to think differently to do things, right? So once you have that acceptance, a lot of things fall in place, right? I'm going to talk a little bit of how my journey evolved all these years and a lot of some of the things that I learned, some of the things that I unlearned, right? We're all from the institute. There are a lot of great things that you learn, but many of the things when you go and practically apply in the outside world, it may get a little bit into, a little bit become difficult because you may not be able to do everything as you would like. So how to navigate that a little bit, right? So first and foremost, you have to be extremely courageous. There's no doubt about that. You have to be courageous because you have to be ready to take new paths that someone else has not taken, which is about raising hand, right? Very early in my career, and this is just me about 3.5 years into Deloitte. I was expecting my first child, and this is I had all about like 4 years of experience then. My only ambition in life then was to get 5 years on the resume. I don't know, sometimes this multiples of 5 kind of act in the mind, right? 5 years on the resume is good enough, right? I'm like, okay, all I'm going to do is have the baby, come back, do something, and get the 5 years on the resume. That's all. And there was this partners who had come to India, and they were trying to set up this practice, which I lead today actually. This practice securitization, they had come down to actually set up this practice. And then I will go on this, I was 8 months pregnant. I go on this lunch, nicely have the lunch, came back, and I was just walking the corridors. And then this partner called me and he said, and I was all prepared to go on maternity, right? And never come back. And he said, look, I really observed you. You were asking some very great questions. I want you to lead this practice. In that moment, I thought, what a stupid way of thinking that you could self-limit yourself and think this is the end, right? How do you even think somebody else who has come so far was able to observe and say that you are capable of this? Don't self-limit yourself, and you couldn't believe in yourself. And I know this was repeated several times in the morning. We all do that mistake of self-limiting. So be courageous. And I said, okay, I'll go, I'll come back. And I came back in 6 months. I came back, I took that opportunity of building that practice. I built it from 4 to several people today. And that practice is one of the leading practices among all the other, competitors that we have, right? And it is such a wonderful and I would say a very, very, huge accomplishment that I can talk about in several places. And it all happened in that one discussion of somebody putting a trust on you, but it also about you saying that I will not self-limit myself, right? That's number one. The second one is agility, right? I don't know how I can talk about agility with you guys, because where else can you learn agility more than in our Anantapur, campus, right? Talk about, waking up, doing a lot of, Vedam chanting or getting very close to our culture, going and attending classes. Our BCom honors was one of the most, I would say, difficult courses that I have at least studied. It's extremely comprehensive. This room, the other room, I don't know how many pages I have written, and still kind of only scored half the marks that I could have got. And your handwriting, you only will not recognize after you're finished, right? So it is a most comprehensive, I would say, content that we have in terms of subject, right? Very few colleges today, even today, I would say, are able to produce that kind of level of quality when you talk about education. So you do that. And I was just telling somebody, every morning for us, the college was never 9 o'clock. It was always 8 o'clock. There was no 9 o'clock class. 9 o'clock was all for all of our physics people. Like they only had the 9 o'clock classes. We were always like 8 o'clock extra class. From there, go to the auditorium and come here and class, right? So that is how. So then we go back to the hostel, pick ourselves, go to the, for our sports, right? Sunday morning, we go to the, kitchen, we do our kitchen work. Where else can you learn so much of agility? It's in the mindset. All of you should develop an agile mindset. And if you develop that agile mindset, you'll be able to kind of move from one thing to other more efficiently and be able to give your 100% in that. So make sure you kind of develop that agile mindset. The third one is learning, right? I'm still learning, okay? Every day I learn from several different people. And one thing that you have to understand is there's no shame in asking. There are things that I go and ask my most junior most person in my organization saying, I don't understand, please explain. So no shame in asking anybody, no shame in raising your hands and saying, I don't understand, and no shame in saying that I'm learning this also. You continuously learn. And think about the times that we are. AI is everywhere. I mean, in any meeting, if AI is not kind of spoken in the first 15 minutes, I don't know, like it just considered as, the meeting has in progress, right? We speak about AI everywhere. And all of us have to at least learn to know, hey, can I contribute to it? Can I take this to my work, right? Or at least understand and have a meaningful conversation when somebody is speaking. So we will have to constantly know that learning is never going to stop. So make sure that, if you're thinking that, what, I'll pass BCom, I'll do an MBA, I'll go out and that is it, I'll start earning, and that is about it. No. Every day at work, you have to learn. And sometimes you have to learn things that are not in a comfort zone. And talking about comfort zone, right? We all have this plans of, this is how I want to take my career. I'll do this, I'll box myself here, I'll go there and do that. No. Throughout my professional career, I have always been posed with so many challenges that I've never been able to box myself into anything at all. 2 years back, this is I was a senior manager about six years back, and at that level, what happens when you're already like 15-16 years in the company, then you think that, what, I know everything, I have done and I've settled in my nice role, and I don't want to do anything more. And I got the most challenging opportunity to go and lead a very big bank on one of the most complex projects on controls and testing. I have zero knowledge about controls, zero knowledge about testing. My area was all finance. I had learned securitization significantly well. I had no idea about controls. I told my partner, who said, you'll be able to do this. I said, I have no idea that, I can do this. He said, you'll figure it out. Just go. Right. You also have to, figure out leaders like them who can trust you. But then now you have to deliver. You have to go learn it and deliver the project, and then really kind of make sure that the client is happy and everything. So 16 years into my professional life, I had to go and do something that I'm not comfortable with. So become more comfortable in going into uncomfortable zones. That's another learning that I have had. So 3 things: agility, courage, and learning always, right? What are some of the other things that help me in my professional experience? One is being compassionate and kind. That's also very important. How many of us realize that during COVID, right? It was very difficult times. All of us were becoming virtual. Several of us were dealing with things that we have never kind of heard or experienced before, right? Very, very difficult times for several families. They were all trying to help each other. Some of them were losing their loved ones. Here's where compassionate and being a kind leader comes into forefront. And again, going back to wiring, we have wired in ourselves as women to be more compassionate and kind. I know men are also compassionate and kind, but I think we are wired a little differently in this part. And I think many of us in those situations ended up being very good leaders in terms of leading those adversities, talking to team members who are going through a particular challenge, helping them navigate not just that, getting the best out of them, or advising them what is right for them at that time, even if it meant saying, hey, prioritize your health, prioritize your family, right? Because we know. So I think having that also is very important. We all think leadership is also all about big, bold things. It is also about all of the small, very important things, such as compassionate, being kind, and showing that in your leadership style. Next one is we women. I think it's a problem, or rather say, in one way of wiring. We think we only can do everything, and we will only do everything, right? And we only will do it the best way, right? We have to learn that we have to delegate a lot of things, okay? And that is the only way that you can create more leaders, right? And how are you going to pay it forward to the rest of the generation if you're not going to change, share your knowledge and actually develop more people, right? So first of all, we have to get out of the myth that we only can do everything and we only want to do the best. So start teaching, start creating more leaders, delegate more, give others the opportunities. Only then you will be able to rise up and do other things. And this is the analogy that I always tell my managers, saying that why does a balloon actually raise up? Because it's very light. If it's a heavy object, it will not raise up. So only when you're light, if you're going to hold on to 100 other things, you'll not be able to rise above. So if you want to rise above, you have to let go. And that is another thing that women, we have to do it. We have to let go, right? Let go. Don't hold on to things. Don't hold on to roles. Don't hold on to positions. Don't hold on to things because you believe that you are the best. Teach others, make more leaders, delegate more, lighten yourself up, and raise yourself to do more meaningful and powerful things in professional world and personal world as well. Next one, communication, very underrated. And many of us think that communication is all about written, verbal, or it's more about, how well I kind of present myself or whatnot, right? Simple communication. I keep my communication channels very open, both in my professional and personal life. So first of all, I have to decide who are my stakeholders. And I'm sure you have, you've heard this word stakeholders quite a few times. You may be surprised that my husband is definitely a stakeholder. My kids are my stakeholder. The maid who comes and helps me is my stakeholder. The cook who comes, she's a stakeholder. My neighbors are my stakeholder. The reason is that several of them, I have to communicate what I'm going through to help me become more successful in my personal and professional life. Likewise, in office, I have to have a stakeholder. I have to have a number of team members that I have to, lean on when I'm in tough times. I have to also have several of my peer group that I can lean on when I need some help. I have to keep my boss informed as to what I'm going through in my personal life if I need some time away from, work, right? So these are the stakeholders that I have to keep the communication channels very open. So communication is just not about exchanging information, writing, or presenting yourself as well. I think we undermine the fact that we determine who all our stakeholders are and how will we communicate where we are in our professional or personal life and how we want them to help us navigate that. The other few things that I want to speak about, how did I go about chasing all of this, right? And I just want to, go back to some of the mentorship that I received very early in my life. And this is going to be a very interesting story. So my first mentor, of course, my mom and my dad. But I think the first one who really pushed me into my professional world is going to be my brother. He was a first year MBA. He just finished his first year MBA in Parthe campus. And that year summer camp was in Vrindavan. And that is when the Anantapur results were announced. First of all, take a step back. I did all my education from 4th standard to about 12th standard in Gurgaon. So I never wanted to come back to a college like Anantapur. I know it was very strict and everything, right? I never wanted to come back. He forced me to go and write the exam, BCom exam. I said, okay, my only chance was to write a very, wrong answers and everything. I'll not get selected. Okay. I tried that. I failed. I think I ticked all the right answers instead of the, the wrong answers. Out of the 800 students who applied, I don't know how, but I had an interview call. I went for the interview. I was the third person to go to the interview. I did, I didn't, do anything, whatever was asked. I just responded. I came back. I prayed so much that I should not get the admission. I got the admission. I didn't want to go. I rebelled so much. It was June 2nd. We all have to join on June 1st. It was June 2nd. My brother said that there is no way that you're going to let go this opportunity. 100%. You're going to go there. You go live there for 2 weeks. If you want to come back, but there's nothing like not going there at all. I still remember he came to drop me at the gate. He said me bye, and I didn't even turn back to say bye. I said, hell with you. You came and dropped me here, and I went inside the hostel. 1 month is all it took me to say that what a fool I would have been to have missed this opportunity. The 3 years that I studied here really shaped me for several things in life. And I would say that the 3 years here has what made me a leader in my organization today, and personally also very successful, right? So, never undermine any opportunity, right? Take it, absorb it, experience it, right? And then make a decision whatever you want. So that's something that I wanted to share because, it comes more with the courage, the fact that, I was very courageous to say, okay, fine, let me go figure it out. But also the fact that how it now has helped me shape several things in my professional life. So the things that I learned, first and foremost, defining success, right? And we always have this issue of how should we define success based on somebody else. Never base it on somebody else. My success is this. My success is this very conference that I'm standing and speaking is my success. To come back to my alumni institute and to speak in front of your own, teachers who have taught you and students who are sitting and listening is my success. And I define it, right? And that is how I would say you define your success in an organization. If you start putting goalposts based on others, you're again self-limiting yourself, because you have no idea that that goalpost is actually probably, a lesser one for you. You're probably, capable of achieving higher things, right? So first thing is define your own success. It could be any small thing, big thing, doesn't matter. Define your whole success on your own terms. Do not go by others, right? The second one is prioritize. See, this is more a wiring issue also. And the reason I go back is that, we have to accept that as women, our responsibilities are going to be different from a male person, right? We are the one who are going to be, giving birth to kids, and we are the one who are going to be the primary caregivers for several years, right? And we are the ones who are going to helm a lot of things at home. How much ever we deny that, we are going to be the one. And it is also because we only think that we can only do best, right? That is also a problem. But knowing that this is how our life is going to be, right? Prioritize. There are going to be times in your professional life where it is important. And that is when you use the moment to communicate to your people that this is an important professional moment, right? Help me in that. There are going to be times where your personal life is going to take importance. You tell your professional, people in the office that, hey, there's a personal event. I want to step away and give my 100%, right? Prioritizing is very, very important in life. And that you have to learn and continue to kind of, polish it every time you come with a new situation, learn from it, prioritize and move on. Gratitude. It's natural for all of us, right? Having gratitude, but have more of it as you grow. When you kind of get into organizations, you will have a lot of people helping you, a lot of people putting trust on you. Have gratitude. Make sure you take time to thank them. Make sure you take time to pay it forward also. It is very important that you take the time to develop other people and give them the time and energy. Tell them what you have learned and how you don't want them to make the same mistakes, and how do you want them to help them to be more successful. So bring in the gratitude part has to be very, very internal to what you do in even your personal life, right? I think, I was just telling someone, if I have a event or a long, international, travel that I have to make, the first person that I call is my mother-in-law. I said, I have this coming up, and she'll be like, I'll be there, right? Have that gratitude. She doesn't have to do it for me. I mean, she has, she is now at a stage where she can have a life of her own, but then for her to step away and say that, hey, I want to help, go ahead and do what you want. Have that sense of gratitude towards, whoever is helping you, and remember that you have to pay it forward too. Self-care. We have a big problem with this, right? We will do self-guilt, we will do self-pity, but we'll not do self-care, right? And I give this another analogy, and I learned it in one of our trainings. This training was going on. They said, okay, fine, write the 10 most important people in your life. Everybody wrote every person 10%. They said, okay, tell, right? Everybody said different people, name and thing. The learners, the person who was coordinating, she said, has anybody written yourself as an important person in that list? No. And the thing is, if you do not consider yourself as an important person, forget about the world, right? How can you go and ask the world to consider yourself as an important person? You yourself don't consider. They gave option for you to write 10 names. Of the 10, you yourself did not bother to write your own name, right? So make sure you prioritize yourself. Self-care is very, very important. Another thing that you learn, I'm sure many of you have traveled in aircrafts, right? They say that, mask. When something happens and the mask comes down, first help yourself, then figure out, helping your child and others. So if you cannot help you, if you don't help yourself, you cannot help anyone. Don't think that, I am, we all have that image of, goddess which has 10 hands. Yes, we have 10 hands, but we have to take care of ourselves also. Otherwise, all those hands are useless. We cannot help anyone. So please make sure that you prioritize your health, your well-being. Make self-care an important part of it. It's not just physical well-being, it's also mental well-being. There is time that you all have to take away and say, okay, this is my personal time. This is how I want to spend. These are things that I want to do for my mental enhancement, right? Work-life balance is still a myth, and for me, it is blurred, is what I would say. I have nothing called a work-life balance. If in between this session, I would just go check a few things, send a few messages. I'll be probably sitting in the train in the evening and finishing a few of the things. Once I go back home, I'll give 100%. My son has got exams tomorrow. I don't know what he has studied. I have to figure out, what he's going to do. So that it is in this madness, it will blur, but figure out your own balance. Figure out your own balance. That is where all this prioritizing, taking help, gratitude, all of this comes into good help. Talking about mentors, right? Apart from my brother and father who have mentored well, and my mother also, my husband is a great mentor. He's a good, resource to go and bounce off ideas. Because he knows me more than very closely, and he's watched me so many years. He's able to tell, this is not how you have to navigate. This is how it is. So use your, outside of work, use different type of people to give that, mentoring, perspective, right? Two of my mother mentors are my neighbors, and I found them. Actually found my neighbors during COVID. And this is what happens with, working women, right? Yeah, we don't know our neighbors until COVID. That's when I figured out that I have two nice neighbors, and I realized I used to chat with them till 2 a.m. in the morning, 3 a.m. because nothing else to do after work. Just whatever little work I could do, and then we had nothing else to do. And though they were not working women, they were not working. They were actually housewives. Great perspective. If you could hear from them, great mentoring. And they both had older children than me, so they mentored me a lot in how I should navigate my motherhood challenges, right? So mentors are not just, when you think of a word mentor, is just not an office. It is everywhere. It's a lot of places that you have to figure out your mentors. I'll tell you something that I learned from a maid. She will take off the moment she has a cough, or she has a very small ailment. She'll take off. Initially, I used to be like, what is this small cough? As if you cannot take care of yourself and come. But the thing is, she puts her health first, and that's something that we have to learn. We think it's our arm is broken, I can still work with this arm. My leg is broken, I can still take a taxi and go to office. We have to learn that health is first. We all do it, and I learned it from her. That how she prioritizes her health. Whatever, she's not educated, but she knows this is important. And today I have to fix it. Tomorrow I have to come to work. I have family to go back and take care, and I have responsibilities, right? So your mentor need not be somebody just this high profile person or anything. It can be, but I'm saying look around for mentors all around. Get a mix of them. I had a mentor in the office, a very senior person, a very senior partner. He's the one who actually helped me in building one aspect that I'll probably touch upon a little later. He gave me one line the year that I was going up for my promotions, when it was not. And for most women, it may happen. Our promotions will never happen in the year that we want. Okay. It'll always happen with a delay for whatever reasons. Either we are having a mismatch or expectations, or the organization has got a mismatch on what's going on, right? And we always we are in this little trouble. So he told me that only the wheels that make the noise get the oil. Okay. And that's a very powerful statement. He just said that. We talked about a few things, and then we left the call. That actually, impacted me significantly. And I keep telling that in several meetings and several challenges when I go through, I keep reflecting on it. Speaking up is very, very important. Speaking up is very, very important. And many of us will not get that role and opportunity that easily. If you are in a room, on a table, having a seat, speak up. There is someone else who's not getting that opportunity. You are there on that table, make your point, make your opinion. Speak up for yourself, speak up for others. Because you spoke and you're speaking up for several women who are not there in this room. So please make a best opportunity of when you're in those situations. So speaking up is very, very important. And as much as speaking up is important, keeping silent is also very important. I'll tell you this another one, right? I'm an extreme introvert. The early part of my career, the one significant feedback that used to always come was around communication. Speak more, talk more, whatnot. I'm like, hey, I'm in a meeting and absorbing things. I'm like a sponge. I'm just absorbing everything. And when my turn comes, when I really have a good point, I'll speak. Not otherwise. but it may not always, go well. So speak up when it's required. Keep silent when you don't have to speak. The other important thing is, if you're an introvert, extrovert, there could be several other words they can give you to classify you. Whatever you are, be authentic. Bring your best authentic self. Do not copy anyone. Don't become somebody else. The only reason you can excel is you bring your best authentic self to work or to your personal life. So that is very, very important. Unlearning is very important. As much as learning is important, unlearning is very important. So I studied in Anantapur. Everybody, all women go back to Chennai and study in a college called Etiraj. All women go to corporate world. You see very few of us there. Okay. So now unlearning begins. Every day you have to unlearn a few things. So be ready to unlearn, and not just because we study in women institutes. Even otherwise, we have to, when you go to corporate world, or even when you embark into your own personal lives, you have to unlearn a lot of things. Be open to learning new things, right? So unlearning is very, very important, as much as learning new things is important. I think I touched upon the other things. Networking, this is big, and this is very difficult for women also, right? Especially because how first of all, we are outnumbered in that entire networking world, right? Men network a little differently than women. And then initially in many organizations, and even now, maybe few organizations, dinner is the networking time, and many women are not available for dinner time because you have to go back, take care of our kids, and then otherwise they don't get to sleep and they don't go to school, and then it is a chain, right? So dinner is never a good time for us to network. So many of us used to miss out that network, and then used to complain, and all of that. And then maybe some of us, had the courage to speak up. Those dinners have now become lunches, right? And it is a norm, and it is becoming increasingly important for organization to be inclusive of women's needs, right? They cannot do dinner. We have to move all of this to lunch, right? Or if somebody is not ready to come to a meeting because of whatever this thing, we have to change the timing of the meeting. So organizations are getting better, but speak up, voice out what you can and cannot do, so that they can also understand where you're coming from. But going back to networks, right? Just thinking that just because I missed a dinner or just because I missed a lunch doesn't actually make or break things. And this is what I learned from my own networks. See, first of all, I have to understand why I need networking. Not to make friends, not to make this LinkedIn request and have 300 people, 400 people, right? Why I don't the network? Am I going to use the network to achieve anything at all? Either to, enhance that person's experience or my own experience, right? So if you identify, why I need this networking opportunity, then you'll figure out the right networks also. And the moment you figure out the right networks, forget about whether it's dinner or lunch, you'll figure out a way to network. And you will meaningfully create a small network which is required for you to enhance your own experience, professional, personally, to excel. So this whole networking is a big buzz in corporate world. I agree, I don't deny it. But over the years, what I've learned is that I define what networks I need. I define how I'm going to find that networks. I will define how I find those. If I'm not able to connect directly, how I'm going to find other people to help me connect. And I will figure out a way to keep that networking conversation more efficient and effective, right? Not just, having 300 people, but not talking with anybody at all. Saying no. We all think that, saying no is bad, or no is not a part of the dictionary. Somebody very recently, and I know that saying no is, and you have to, several times in your life, you may have to use the word no, both in professional and personal life. And it's not a bad word. It's a good word to have in dictionary. And it is a sentence by itself, right? You'll have to understand that also. So you have to decide when you say no, and when you say it with conviction and say it with reasoning. One thing I learned about saying no is, you first of all, I think we women, we think that anybody is asking us a question, immediately have to respond. No. Take time. Tell them, hey, let me think about it. I'll come back and respond. So take that time. We all think, we all act as if we have to do it now or never, or, whatever it is. I think we have to be very smart. These are the things that I have learned from my male colleagues. Have a long conversation, and then, if I'm a woman, I'll be like, hey, this long a conversation I had, now I have to respond. I have wasted this time. Don't have to think. Just say, hey, I need to take some time back and I have to discuss with my people. I'll come back and respond. Your answer may still be no. Take that time. By that time, go back to your own small little space, think about it. Maybe you have to come back and say a no, but say no, right? And saying no is not bad. I have said no several times. I had an opportunity several years back when my partner said that, hey, you know what, take up an opportunity to go to US, go for 2-3 years, you'll get a lot of client exposure and everything, right? I was very clear. I never wanted to go. This is where I wanted to build my career. And I said, if it is at a cost of me not, getting to this level, maybe okay, it'll take 2 more years extra, but that's fine. So I had to go back and say no, but that was fine. So saying no is not bad. Please include that in your dictionary, but give a very thoughtfully, thoughtfully kind of, arrived answer for that no, right? Okay, making mistakes. Every time somebody is in my office room and says, okay, you know what, we want to learn, how did you go and how did you do this for 21 years, all the success and everything. I said, you know what, I'll tell you the first 10 mistakes I have done, and that will give you enough learning for, rest of, another few months, right? I'm saying that we all will make mistakes. And like Subhashri ma'am said in the morning, make mistakes, make new mistakes. Don't make the same mistakes, right? Make new mistakes. When you grow in your career, be open to open to sharing those mistakes with others. That will actually give a huge leap of sort of time for those several women who need not make those mistakes, right? They can make some other mistakes. So maybe that is what you give back to your women community, where you can probably sort of give it back to them, saying, you know what, this is what I did, and maybe this may not work, do something else. There are a few things that I want to share about paying it forward. I work very closely with Vidya Vaini the last 5-6 years, and that's how I have come more closer to our organization. I lead our corporate social responsibility for Deloitte. I lead Vidya Vaini, and we have done about 10,000, 12,000 volunteers every day, every year, contributing content that it goes on the portal and everything. And I realized that, in everything in your professional personal life, when you're in a dilemma, and I've always reflected on this, if I center my response to the purpose and intent, I've always landed in the right spot. Please mark these words, purpose and intent. If you can center, whatever you want to do, you're in a dilemma, you want to obviously go brush your idea with several people. But if you can go and answer yourself very honestly, what is the purpose that I'm doing? What is my intent to it? I think we'll get the right answer. These are the things that I wanted to share. I couldn't have been more happier to have come here and share all of this. I don't know if you have any questions, happy to answer, but this is just an amazing experience for me since morning, listening to Rashi ma'am, Subhashri ma'am, and then I know there's a panel that is coming up, and just kind of walking the corridors, seeing the campus. And I was just telling ma'am, by the way, when you go to outside world, you don't have campuses like this. You don't have this luxury, by the way. You have no luxury like this. There are campuses now being run in apartments. Just be very, very thankful for the environment, right, in which you're learning. It is a beautiful place. When you're spending 3 years of your time here, and several of you maybe for 2 years, please make the best of it. Please make the best connection. Please help each other. Start to develop the collaborative mindset from the classrooms here. And that is what you may have to bubble up when you go to the corporate world, because that is what people are looking for. India produces several 100,000 of management graduates every year. What is that unique proposition that you all can bring to the table is what matters. And we are definitely unique, just starting with the value-based education that we all get here. So how you're going to position that in front of those whom you're going to speak is the most important thing. So you're already at a higher pedestal in terms of where you are starting. So just have to, position yourself well for more success is what I would say. And being a woman is not at all a limiting factor. Yes, we may have we may not be able to time ourselves on when we'll become successful. But more than becoming successful, I think impacting lives is very important. So keep the construct of, what my purpose is, what my intent is, how am I going to impact as paramount, as you all go out of the go out of our institute, and then and become successful in your career. So that's all I had to share. Thank you for the opportunity once again. And if you have any questions, happy to answer. Yes.
Sairam ma'am,
Yeah.
first of all, thank you so much for the insightful session. Um, for women, there's a stereotype and statements like emotional and weak. But the thing is, women are having the most patience. In the organizations, there might be at times where we'll be very patient, but at a point of time, a break-even point, it touches our temper. In such situations, the mixture of emotions like personal life, organization, and all, and in such situations, like how to face the situation, because organization is something very sensitive. So maybe some insights in your life, how you face such situations.
Sure. Very interesting question. We have this we are this dynamite of emotions. We can cry profusely also, and we can also get angry on the other side. So yeah, and we can do all at one also. We are fully capable. So how do we do it, right? It's not easy. It comes with practice. I could always be this very anxious person, wanting to do everything now, wanting to finish it, and when it doesn't happen, and it also is an unlearning that you have to do from the hostel. See, here we have a time for everything, right? And all of us move with the time, and that's around a discipline, great habit to have. Not everybody has passed out from Anantapur and Parthi, unfortunately, right? So that discipline will be significantly missing in the outside world, and you have to probably, I won't say unlearn, but learn that, hey, that's a new thing that you have to adapt. Have that patience, right? How do you develop that patience when you're in a difficult situation? Sometimes what I do is I step away from that situation. I take a walk. I walk away from that environment first, right? I try to distract myself to regain some sense, so that I don't say or do something that I cannot take back. That's the first thing that you do. You just, pull yourself out of that physical environment, step out somewhere and do something different. The other one I do is I also have a set of network of people with whom I can freely say what I want to say, and then get them to advise me what I'm thinking is right or not. And you have to create those networks, that peer network or your close confidant, as we call it. It could be somebody in the house also, and it could be somebody in the office also. And that is where I'm saying networking is very important. Not have those 300 people, have those 3 people that you can talk to and then get that response to, right? And over a period, what you also do is, after a situation has happened, spend some time reflecting on it, and have like a self check. How did I react? Did I do the right thing? Could I have done something better? Don't kind of, once that is done, that is solved, don't move on. Spend some time reflecting, because that is a learning that you're going to embed in your head for next similar situation or otherwise. We were faced with such situations several times during COVID, right? Everybody is virtual. Clients were very anxious. Work needs to get done. People were falling sick, right? Do you tell them that even with your sickness work? Or what to do? Like, you are in this place, and how to be compassionate, kind, also get work done. It's a mixture of things. You have to be very practical. Take a step back, take a moment, take a breather, think what is right and wrong, prioritize and do things. So it definitely comes with a lot of experience and practice. But the first few things that you can do is walk away from the situation. Second things, reach out to your near and close network to get that help. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. That's it. Oh, you have a question?
Saira,
Okay.
ma'am.
Saira.
Sometimes, like being a team leader, we face this situation. Okay, we are in a situation where we know that one of our team member is not feeling well, and in that process we try to show compassion and kind, but at the same time we will be answerable to our manager for not getting the work done from that member. So in that situation, like how to deal with both the cases, like at the same time we will not be able to do their work because it is being delegated to them, and at the same time we know she or he is having some personal problem, and at the same time we have to be answerable to the manager in that
Okay.
situation.
So it is a very tricky one. Not that it doesn't happen in office. It probably happens in office every day. The first thing is, somebody is sick, you should just tell them to go take rest. I mean, for me, I keep telling this, especially after 20 years of work. And I've not done this for myself, by the way. I learned it the hard way that, if you lose your health, nothing else you can do. So, that's a first mistake. The mistake that I've done, the first mistake is that I tell others, please take care of your health. This project, this deliverable can be done tomorrow. The world will not turn upside down. We have lived COVID for one whole month. Nothing got done in several client places. Nothing happened. Everybody is back up and running, right? The first thing is allow the person to go. The other part is again going back to what I mentioned about delegation. See, in organizations, we all, sometimes we may have this, this person only can do, this is the favorite person to do. Have more people to do things. Don't have dependencies. I even tell my own team that, this particular project team or this whole setup should not be dependent on me. I mean, the day it is dependent on me and I have failed, because if the day it has become dependent on me, I have failed because I've not created any of the next set of leaders to take it forward, right? So I think in organizations, generally speaking, one job can be done by several of them, may not be to the utmost efficiency, but I think the first thing as a manager is to create a set of team, not create one person where there's a lot of dependency. And as leaders, it is very important to continue to reiterate, especially from your own experience or otherwise, saying that health is a number one priority. All of this can be, because that is a very, very, I would say, important message that we give to the future generation. The kind of health issues that I'm hearing, it is unknown for, right? The young people who are having health issues, I'm not able to understand. I'm like, at this age, I was totally different, right? But the kind of health issues they're developing continue to kind of emphasize saying health is first. Otherwise, there is no point you giving 100%, and definitely create more people and delegate more and create a set of team is what I would say.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
ma'am.
Sarah ma'am,
Yeah.
recently we are hearing the news of Miss Anna Sebastian, who's no more with us right now. So she was a fresher, just 4 months into the corporate world. So what I wanted to ask was, when you are a fresher and people say, we all work so hard, do not complain that you are getting a lot of work. We all came through this same journey, you have to work. But some say that no, you should know when to leave and you should know where to draw the boundaries. So my question to you is, like, how do you know that this is the point I should stop taking anymore? And when do you know that this is the point I should walk away, or this is the point I should stay?
Right. I know this is a big news that is going around. I don't want to comment on it, but I certainly want to say is that this goes back to what I mentioned, right? Prioritize, right? Get your priorities right. If you can't, and that is unique for every single person. Maybe for some person, like my priority is that I want to get to the top very quickly or whatever. I want to be successful. I want to shine better than everybody else, whatever it is, right? Get your priorities right. Speak up. If you will not speak up, there may be a day where you don't have a voice, right? Speaking up is very, very important. Drawing boundaries, I think you answered one of the things that I missed saying. Drawing boundaries is very, very important. Especially for women, it is very, very important at workplace and even at home also. Drawing boundaries is very, very important. Saying, hey, this is the time that I work, this is the time that I need to go back and do something else for my personal life. It is very, very, very important. And most important thing is, again, I think I touched upon it, defining your own success, right? Some people can be very successful in 3 years, some will take 5 years. Define what you want. Do you want to lose your health and do this? And not necessarily in this case, we don't know the entire case to know what all happened, but I'm just saying some of us will take longer. For example, what I achieved in 20 years, some of our male colleagues achieved in 18 to 17 years, right? But I'm like, hey, I had to give birth to 2 kids. That took away the time, and that's a priority, right? And I'm not going to now, undermine that aspect of it. So it is going to take time. So know your boundaries. Tell people what your boundaries are. Speaking up when you know the first sign that something is not right is very important. Prioritize your health. Otherwise, there may not be a day when where you will have a voice that will come out and speak about all of these things, right? and you have to define, what works for you, what doesn't work. It doesn't matter what others are doing. And if you're forced into such an environment, maybe that's not the place for you. Like how Subhashri ma'am said, maybe that's not the place for you, right? You can figure out your own calling elsewhere. So that those are the things, and those are the signs that you have to, early on detect. And that is why I'm saying keeping a very, I would say, practical outlook to things, getting different perspectives outside workplace to interact with people will give you that sense, right? Saying, hey, this is not right, this is wrong. And a lot of that right and wrong we learn here, by the way. It's just that when we go to the outside world, we get little lost and we start to ape others and we seem to forget it. But most of the right and wrong is very well taught here for us. That's what I would say. Okay. Thank you. Thanks a lot. And thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, ma'am, for such an oh so relatable talk. And as ma'am said that we are different, I think this was the biggest realization we second MBAs felt during our work experience in the internship, during our internship period. And also to remind us that being comfortable in the most uncomfortable situations and to adapt ourselves in the work culture of the organizations. Now I request Mr. Kshetrajna sir to give the token of appreciation to Ms. Rajeshwari Natarajan madam. We would now have a panel discussion in which the nuances of breaking the glass ceiling will be discussed by women leaders of eminence. I request the panel members to come onto the dais in the order of my introduction. It's my privilege as I invite Ms. Pani Kirti, the moderator of this panel discussion. With over a decade of experience in project management and business transformation, she currently serves as Global Mobilization CPMO at Accenture, where she drives strategic initiatives in digital transformation, business process management, and automation. She brings a wealth of knowledge from her roles at Accenture, HSBC, and Cognizant, and her expertise spans across diverse sectors including IT, finance, and innovation management. Ms. Kirti's passion for learning and sharing, combined with her leadership in process excellence and strategic thinking, makes her a perfect addition to today's discussion. Please welcome Ms. Pani Kirti. The next panelist for the day is a chartered accountant by profession. Ms. Shraddha has been working with the Indian oil industry for more than 2 decades. She is employed with Bharat Petroleum Corporation Limited, a Fortune 500 company. At present, she heads the finance team of Kochi Refinery, BPCL, the largest public sector undertaking refinery in the country. As executive assistant to C&MD BPCL and as finance member of the LPG and retail businesses of BPCL, she has also contributed in the capacity of finance head of BPCL's gas business, international trade, and risk management. Just like how craving for knowledge never ends, how many times we listen to you, ma'am, we keep wanting to listen to you more and more. This panel is something all of us are looking forward to. With this, I welcome Ms. Shraddha S. Jaitley. We are proud to host Ms. M.N. Sai Geeta, a Senior Director of Engineering at Giant Eagle, with over 20 years of experience in driving data and engineering solutions across some of the biggest global organizations. Ms. Sai Geeta has a distinguished career spanning data engineering, big data, cloud technologies, and enterprise data analytics. Her extensive work at industry giants like Tesco, where she led strategic transformations in data modernization, lakehouse architectures, and security postures, showcases her ability to drive business impact through technology. We are excited to hear her insights on the future of data and analytics. Please join me in welcoming Ms. M.N. Sai Geeta. It is my absolute pleasure to introduce the next panelist, Ms. Tarini Iyengar, a dynamic leader known for her deep expertise in business strategy and technology. Ms. Iyengar brings over 14 years of diverse experience, having held pivotal roles in leadership, pre-sales, and enterprise architecture, currently serving as the go-to market strategist at Unisys. Her journey is marked by her unique ability to blend business and technology, contributing to major wins across digital transformation. She is deeply passionate about using tools such as agile, design thinking, and cloud technologies to enable digital transformation for enterprises. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming Ms. Tarini Iyengar. We will now tune to rewriting discussion, spearheaded by the moderator of the panel, Ms. Pani Kirti. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the warm welcome. Good afternoon, everyone. Esteemed panelists, guests for the day, professors, fellow students, sisters, I would say. Thank you so much for the warm welcome and the opportunity that we have got today. Ma'am was actually saying, right, we have to come and tell something so that the students get inspired. But I'm actually looking now at something what I can take back from the entire session. The whole session was fantabulous, I should say. You know, if I start speaking about this, I think we should have for each topic one session, in fact. So without taking much time, I would like to start today's panel discussion. So the topic today, from morning we were discussing, right, breaking the glass ceiling, an Indian perspective. So morning, Shraddha ma'am, other ma'ams and all were highlighting, right, in our career journey, we have a lot of challenges. We do or gain a lot of achievements, and we have implemented or learned so many strategies that have helped us in our career journey. So in today's panel discussion, we have listed out certain things that we want to highlight. What are the general gender roles and societal expectations that hinder women's progress, how we can break the glass ceiling with determination, resilience, and strong support system. So our panelists today, I would say I am the youngest among all with the least, I can say least experience of 13 years, but proud to be a part of this esteemed panel. So we have overcome a lot of challenges. Yes, we are still learning. I mean, at least myself, I have a lot to learn. I'm learning in this journey. But it is an opportunity for us to share with you how we have learned or what lessons we have taken from the entire journey of our career till this date. We will share our personal stories, some insights, and probably you can take it as advice. I'm not sure, because everybody's story or situation is different. See, in MBA or exams, everybody will have same question paper. But in personal life or professional, my question paper is different, your question paper is different. We cannot say, I have prepared and come, so if you follow me, you are going to clear the exam. So things are not going to be like that, and it is not at all. So we'll just share as other ma'ams were highlighting since morning, right? Without taking much time, I would like to give a quick intro about myself, so that would give some insights or probable certifications that you might take up in the upcoming your career journey, because these are certain things that really helped me and kept me where I am today. So I have done my BSc honors 18 years before. I was sitting in the same chair, but it was our Sanskrit classroom at that time. We don't have multimedia room at that time. So I did my BSc honors in physics. Today, sir was highlighting, right? How come physics students in leadership roles? So we will discuss in our discussion. So I have done my MSc Tech, MTech dual degree in VLSI design after finishing my physics course here. Then I have completed my CBP, Certified Business Professional from Indian School of Business. I did my leadership and emotional intelligence certification from there. I have my Lean Six Sigma green belt and black belt. So that is probably something I could, share my learnings with others. So these are certain things. And latest and much booming thing in the market, Gen AI. So I have recently finished my Gen AI from PMI, Project Management Institute. So I will pass on the mic to other panelists to introduce so that they could quickly introduce about themselves.
Thanks, Kirti. Sairam to all of you. I'm sure we're all going to be reiterating. It's a privilege to be here, and we've been looking forward to this, right? To coming, it's a homecoming for us, and it's extremely thrilling. Whatever we've seen since morning. As a quick intro, I did my physics honors, graduated in 2003, 21 years ago, and it's been 21 years of working. So which basically tells you that this was the last official degree I did, but I've picked up on the job. So if I had to do architecture, and then that meant I had to do TOGAF, I would do that certification. If it meant I had to do something else, then you pretty much go with the flow. You will see again, that's a very recurrent themes again, across all what everybody's saying. I even switched industries. I've done some IT. I moved to finance. I did equity research in portfolio. And then I came back into IT. So dabbled quite a bit. And within IT, again, my organization's been very kind. Every 3 years, they let me move horizontals. So I've moved vertically while moving horizontally, because that kind of, again, gives you a lot of learning. And I hope to share from those experiences. And I'm hoping that's of some benefit to you all. Yeah. With that, I'll give it over to Saiki.
Sairam, everyone. So happy to be with you all again. I see so many familiar faces and interested to hear. Nice, even after a lunch, I see bright faces. Thanks for that. So just reiterating the same thing, that learning is an important thing all through life. So now I have passed out of, I passed out in 1993. So that's 31 years ago that I passed out. But even 2 years ago, I did a PG diploma in data science and AI. Working for full 5 days a week and 2 days of the weekend, morning to night, doing assignments, studying, listening to 25 hours of video, taking exams, and all the question papers to be answered, lot of stuff, okay? But it's just that your hunger for learning keeps you going successful in life. Like, it's not just the academic learning. So that just shows the mentality that you're probably open to learning everything that you come across in life from, right? So that is very important for success, is just what I wanted to share before we continue.
Sairam, everyone, once again, it's so good to be back. I'm not really an alumni, but I do hope Swami will accept me as his student in his university, universal institution. So, every time Padma madam contacts me, I write on the WhatsApp chat of the house, Swami calling, and we have to go. It's such a pleasure to be here, and I'm so proud. And I really feel that Swami has invited me to be here today, and I'm so thankful for that, Swami. Thank you. So a few things about myself. The class knows me. I am a high energy person. But at the same time, I'm straightforward and direct. I don't understand politics. I have survived for 23 years in my company, but I don't understand politics. I hope I never have to understand politics, because I think being indifferent to such things is the best way forward. I love to travel. I love music. And I come from a family. We are a family of 4. I have an elder sister. She has also been over here. and my parents, because of whom I am here today, and it is them who has introduced us to Swami. Thank you. So now, without further ado, let's get into the discussion. I just wrote this in the last 1 hour or so, and I really thought I should speak it. I am Shakti. I am the energy that flows through the universe. I create life. I sustain life. I am a woman. Do I know how powerful I am? Do I know how much I can influence my life and the life of the others around me? What a difference I can make to the lives of the people who I am with. What we have done in today's panel discussion is we have tried to categorize the themes over 4 broad categories. We will start off with how our society and our culture influences and views a woman's role in the universe. What are the cultural and societal implications and influences and suggestions as to how a woman should be and how she shouldn't be. We will then move on to what are the skill developments and competencies that a woman has to acquire to make her way in the so-called material world. Moving forward to mentorship, sponsorship, and networking. How these 3 very important, significant, yet subtly touching upon how we can make the best of it, how we can make the most of it. It doesn't come easy to us. I am terrible at networking. I am being upfront and honest. I am terrible at networking. I don't know how to go and make connections if I have to forcefully do so. And if I connect with you at another level, I just connect and I just know that I have to connect with you. But I cannot be forced to do that. That's me. And most women are like that, right? And finally, we will be going to how companies, how the government can make the corporate world more conducive for women to give their best. I very firmly believe that the woman has so much more to offer than what this world can offer the woman. So with that, I will start this session. And my first question to you, Kirti, how do you think the cultural and societal obligations, environment really affect the role of a woman in her career? How does she balance? I don't know whether the term balance actually exists. Is it a balance, as what some of our colleagues were mentioning earlier? Is it really a balance or is it integration? So would you please share your thoughts with us on this?
Right. Um, I remember Dwarkarani Rao, ma'am, our physics teacher. So physics honors people will know how much she was our HOD as well. So she used to say, first know what is the problem, then think about the solution. So in today's discussion also, ma'am was asking, what are the cultural and societal challenges, right? So if you ask me, the picture that you're seeing, right, it itself highlights the race between men and women, right? So men, no hindrances. If they work, hard work, it'll automatically, they can run the race. But if you see women, you can see a lot of hindrances, right? Domestic challenges, lot of constraints on mobility, right? I need someone to escort me. I need someone to support me. There are a lot of family pressures. You might have already experienced because you have crossed teens, early marriages, child responsibilities, right? Childcare responsibilities. In the same family, gender discrimination still exists. There are certain families where we have gender discriminations. Thanks to the education system, with the increase of education, that is subsiding to a greater extent. Then there are certain stereotypes and women abilities. People start judging. If they sit, it is wrong. If they stand, it is wrong. If you turn towards right, it is wrong. If you turn towards left, it is wrong. No, for everything, people start judging. So for that, I would say, one of the sisters was explaining, right? Ignore. Where to consider, where to ignore. These are certain things that we need to, think for ourselves what we need to consider, what not, what to exclude. So the same thing applies here. If this is my question paper, I have my own solution for this. With your environment situations, with the timing perspectives, you might have a different solution, or for the same problem you might opt for a different route. Then we have very less role models in the society right now itself. As women empowerment and other things are happening, we are identifying, we are able to see. So lack of women, I would say, role models is the other challenge, or because of this culture part. And at workplaces we have a lot of issues or constraints, like workplace harassments are there. When we go to college outsides, we see ragging and all. So a lot of other, I know one of my friend classmate who had to leave the education, who had to drop off because of the ragging in the campus, right? So then fear of retaliations, I would say, people start judging, right? As long as this is one thing that this campus has literally taught me, whatever people think or judge you, as long as I know I am correct, I will follow it. So this definition of success, my own success, and neglecting what the world will think are two things that really has helped me to overcome the cultural or the traditional issues what we face.
Sure. Thank you. Tarini, if I can now invite you, what role do you think does the media play in stereotyping the woman or stereocasting the woman in a particular role?
So when you say media, I'll kind of extend it to general public
Sure,
perception, right?
sure.
To multiple means. So typically, there's always a storyline, right? About what, you're a successful daughter, then you're a successful, if you choose to marry a wife. Again, when I use the word successful, there are norms for each, right? You've been available for your child when the child was sick, when the child needed help. You were physically available, mentally available, emotionally available. For the husband, for the in-laws, for the mother, there are multiple boxes that we think we got to tick ourselves. Now, it's not helping that typically stories that, portray people as, that she is the absolute benchmark of success also kind of tries to tick those boxes and says, therefore, here is a role model that you can look up to. For me, the biggest takeaway was in our institute, we are pretty much the self-reliance program, right? So that's been like the hallmark of what you could do yourself, because you never stop to ask, is this something that I need to do? Is this something that has to be ticked off by me? Or if I do something, am I perceived differently? Correct? You see some piece of work that needs to be done, either it's assigned, because it's your self-reliance, you do it. Or if someone else is not able to do it, you pitch in and you do it and you move on, isn't it? So typically, my takeaway is, irrespective of what the rest of the society comes and tries defining for you, you should have a very strong self of what you want to do. Because otherwise, at the end of the day, you may tick a lot of boxes, you're never going to have mental peace, right? So as much as you do a lot of things, you'll be grumpy, you'll be sad, you'll be, I know this word's probably been overused and abused, but you'll be depressed, right? If you just have to be, make peace with yourself, be happy and carry things lightly, make your own definitions. Because preferably don't have a TV. Once you step out, make your own home. That worked brilliantly for me, brilliantly for my children. So we didn't have TV for the first 10 years after marriage, because most information anyways flows through your phone, and what you watch and what you subscribe to kind of defines what next is getting fed to you. It's an echo chamber, but you define what you are, you have a control on the bounds. Correct. And with a TV, information, again, what you get, what you're unconsciously subscribing to, what you're letting your children subscribe to actually goes beyond your bounds, right? So if you can kind of take as much as possible, take the public perception of roles are defined out of your way, by then you will build enough experience and expertise to define your own point. Because starting off fresh in your career, you will not have enough expertise, right? It's easier said that, oh, come up with your own criteria. It takes a while to come with a criteria because you're going to fail initially. You'll figure this is not what I want to do, right? But till such time, try and avoid external exposure, influences, because here you're getting enough internal compass, okay? Trust that compass and move on. Because if you're very uncomfortable in a situation, it will teach you to move on to the next thing, right? And also remember, it's a two double-edged sword, right? Because we are also telling you have to grow. And to grow, you will be put in uncomfortable situations. If you're always comfortable, there's no net new learning, correct? So when you're getting uncomfortable at the first side, don't run. But figure out what kind of discomfort is it? Is it something that you know you can master and move on? Or is it something that, is impacting your fundamental ethos, right? There's that distinction. Once you make that distinction, you will figure out your way because your compass will guide you. Swami will guide you. I mean, I think that comes very naturally to us. Yeah.
I mean, because we have touched the self-reliance and the career journey, right? I would just like to add a point here from my perspective. So how I look career journey, Madam Morning was saying, right, pendulum. So I consider it as three corners of pendulum. One in terms of money, second in terms of role or designation, third one is learnings. So if you see my resume, you will see how I have moved in a short term of 10 years, multiple organizations, how I have shifted or changed the domains and all. So once I feel like, see, the metric I choose for myself is money, right? I want this package, I want this money. So once I met, I'll next think for role. So I struggle for it and then I achieve it. Then obviously with these two, it will not suffice, right? I have to keep learning. So this third one will keep continuing. So third one, again, then I'll target for, so now I have finished the role. And there, ma'am, Sharda ma'am's point will come. So if you feel you're in comfort zone, it's an indication that we need to jump. So that is where I have actually taken positive. So I've got more points actually when I was listening today to all sessions, right? So I made myself know this is a time for me to switch the organization or, think for the next thing. So that's how I made, I toggled in between these three things. One is the package, the other is the role, third one is the learning. So it keeps on continuing. And the bad omen or signal is if you stop thinking about these three, our career will stop. That is the other thing I just want to add.
Hey, on a lighter note, I just wanted to add about perception. Usually ignorance is bliss is told in the wrong sense, but sometimes ignorance is bliss because if you're not bothered about others' perception, your calm confidence takes you through the journey much better than knowing all the politics that happens around or perceptions that are around. So this is one place, I think, when you get out of the campus, ignorant about what's happening, but self-confident that you know what you're doing and you're doing it well, that will serve you very well for quite some time. Yeah, and then you succeed, people pat you and it becomes a virtuous cycle, right? Then even if you have perceptions, you don't care because you know what you are and you're achieving it already, right? Yeah.
And I think all of us are so fortunate to be connected to Swami, because so many times when we are in a dilemma, or we don't know what to do, or we don't know how to react to somebody's perception, or how to react to what the society expects from us, I think you just have to speak to him, connect with him, tell him your problem. You will get a response. I have connected with Swami very lately. I sometimes get really angry at myself for having given up so many of my years not having been connected to Swami, but connect with him and he will respond. I mean, I am not an alumni. I have connected with him only since 2015, though I was 6 months old when I first had his darshan, but he will respond. And I think that is what all of us have, that so many others in the world don't have. Unfortunate for them, but we have that power with us. I wouldn't want to use the term make the best use of it. I mean, you cannot make use of something like this. It is a blessing. We just have to cherish that blessing, and we have to feel how how empowered we are, how blessed we are, how fortunate we are that we are in his fold. I really feel such a sense of belongingness when we talk about being a part of the Sai family. It is something which we should carry with us everywhere we go, because he will be our moral compass, and he will tell us and he will let us know in our hearts where we should and where we shouldn't be. Moving on now, I will invite Tarini to take us through our next theme on skill development and career advancement.
So I'll start this by asking Saigitaka a question on what do you think are either the skill sets or the competencies, or maybe even link that to, say, a personal branding that we'll have to build, Indian women have to build to kind of shine or be, within quotes, successful in the corporate setup.
Yeah, so I'll probably start with what we already have and then go to what we might need to add to it, right? So having studied in this institution, some of the value systems that we have are extremely helpful in the corporate world. The sincerity we show, the hard working we are capable of, the multitasking we are capable of, and trust, the trust we build in people that we work with. Trust is an extremely important thing for success in the corporate world. You must have trust with your superiors and with your reportees and the teams below. Otherwise, nothing works well. It's all then politics. Without trust, it becomes politics, right? So all these are certain things that you already are equipped with, having studied here, right? But there are certain things that we will have to learn even as we go out, right? And one of the important things is not to overdo what we have learned here, right? You will have to balance it out in such a way that you work hard, but you also showcase it. It is not a crime to showcase the work you're doing. How do you think another human being will know what you have done unless you showcase it? So that extra humility, in the name of humility, or extra shyness, just saying, I will sit behind the scenes, I will slog it out, I will do everything, my work will speak for itself, is not the direction that you should be going. Not that you should be arrogant, egoistic. I'm not saying swinging to the other extreme, right? But just simple, straightforward, showcasing, communicating. I think a lot of our speakers have spoken about communication, but it's not about, again, the English and the language, but knowing when to communicate. When to communicate and not sit back, right? One of the sisters was saying that you have a position at the table, a seat at the table, somebody else is missing it. So make use of it. Speak there, right? I see that is one thing that all of us have learned the hard way going out from here, because initially we thought just our goodness, our ability to do things very well will work for us. But over time you see people with half your ability will go past you and become your managers and rule over you and speak on your behalf and win on your shoulders. Now, that is not what we should be encouraging, right? So, communication and calm confidence. And Shraddha sister was beautifully saying, we are equipped with Swami to help us. So, times of crisis, just being able to silence ourselves and seek answers within, that works fantastically. It's very difficult when you're in a turmoil to calm yourself and seek answers within is not easy, but something that if you can practice for, and we are trained for it, right? We go through many things here. It's not an extremely smooth life, even at Anantapur, I would say, right? You have your own ups and downs, and you have learned to deal with it. That is a mini world that you're learning to deal only among women, but that expands to all the genders outside. That's all. That's the difference. So trying to find that calm within yourself and believe in your strengths, but also be aware of your weaknesses, right? Just being on the strengths but not accepting your weaknesses, you will never learn. So I think accepting your weaknesses so that you can actually, improve upon it, and watch out for people. Watch out for people who are better than you, who are working in a different way probably, and learn. be open to learning, right? So I think these are the few things that would enable you as you move into your careers.
I would like one more skill set that I have, very simple example I'll give for that specific skill set: innovation. So all organizations are running behind innovation, and people who are in that domain specifically are having a lot of scope. So one simple example that I have witnessed very closely is this August 15th, one of our family members, she started a cloud kitchen. So a simple example of innovation I just want to share with you all so that you feel more connected. Uh, so cloud kitchen means she's a housewife. So because of financial situations, and she see every woman has their own, want to create their own identity, right? So a small innovation from her cloud kitchen, Tiranga Idli, she has started. Tiranga Idli. So she used palak, carrot, beetroot, and for white normal Tiranga Idli. You don't believe this. I'm very active on social media. I'm active on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and all. I mean, generally for networking, I keep posting a lot. But this Tiranga Idli is something that has exponentially spiked my, audience, or my connectivity in the network. So very small things. Innovation doesn't mean you have to do research and identify something new. Whatever is existing, whatever is in your permissible limits, think differently and put it, whether you're working in a school, whether you're working in university, whether it's a corporate, wherever it is. So having that innovation is one specific skill set that I want to highlight, which is much needed in market. And there are lot of opportunities, especially in the corporate world, on this innovation.
Thanks, Kirti. In fact, probably I'll just lead on to my next question from there, right? Using, the digital tools, like you said, you were very active on social media and stuff. Question to both of you, because both of you come from the tech industry, as do I. How do you, suggest that, women leverage the tools and technology available, right, to kind of enhance either their profile or what they do, given that you spoke of personal branding? And especially in, say, male-dominated sectors as well, if you could extend that. Because STEM, we did speak about that. A lot of us are from the tech industry, and so we do see typically a greater percentage of women there. Maybe not at the senior levels, but the offices have enough representation. But how do you suggest that, women can use the tools and technologies available if they were to move into other industries also?
Yeah, so I think technology is ubiquitous now, right? There is no choice whether you're in tech industry or non-tech industry, doesn't matter. Technology is something that all of us have to learn to use. There is no choice if we want to progress. And I think it's almost a no-brainer. All of us are very aware of the social media means of, building your personal branding. But to get into actually what is personal branding, first you will have to understand. And that's not easy to start off with. Some of you may be very clear what your brand is, but most of us may not be clear when we just step out of college, right? So that is all about how authentic you are and what do you want to project yourself as, right? You certainly, so I have seen in early days, because I've been in the industry for very long, I have seen some women whom I initially took as role models, where later I felt they were only aping men. And at that point, that was easy for success. Aping men was easy for success. But over time, industry has changed and has actually started accepting diversity a lot more. And now the femininity that we bring is something that the industry actually accepts. And in fact, in my previous company, which was Tesco, a retailer from UK, they want women in boardrooms and in high leadership because 50% of the customers are women, right? Population-wise, 50% are women, 50% are men. If only men are in the leadership, you're getting only men's perspective, so your business may not prosper among your women customers. So there are a lot of opportunities coming, but from a technology perspective, I'll tell you personally what I used to do. At one point, I had a dip in my career or my progression, or I was a bit lost as to which direction I should be going. So the way I built my personal brand was, I have a lot of knowledge with me. That's my strength. My technical knowledge is great. I love sharing knowledge, and I love helping people who want to learn from me. So I started blogging a lot. So 2010, when Android was introduced first time, smartphones were introduced, nobody asked me. I learned and I started blogging. And that blog came as one of the top 50 blogs in the world. Who would have expected, right? And I just started as, a hobby. So blogging and actually sharing knowledge, going to meetups, again sharing knowledge, that itself became my personal brand, right? So you build on your strengths, use social media. Even now I have a data science blog that I keep doing, though my work is not very data science-ish, right? It's more of data analytics and data engineering, but I do blogging on all the areas just because I love it, right? And I love to share knowledge, and I then attract similar-minded people, and I'm able to be more successful because we become a network that can help each other, right? So that's how I would think. You want to add?
Yeah, so technical perspective, corporate, higher level, and all ma'am shared. So I would like to go very low level because I am youngest among all. So from personal front, I'm saying, so earlier I used to have this, fight in my mind. Why all this self-reliance, what I'll do and all, I would say at least till COVID, right? I used to have maids, used to come do the things and all. But COVID has taught me that I need to use technology so that I don't depend on somebody else. Actually, that is my psychological problem. I don't know it is good or bad, but I cannot rely on somebody, if things are getting delayed. So because of self-reliance, we tend to do ourselves everything, right? So what I opted or did is I stopped my maid. Financial perspective, it could be plus, but what I have done is I have brought a robot for sweeping and mopping the house. So I myself started using, so I don't have to depend upon maids at all, including dish for cleaning vessels as well. So technology perspective, earlier I used to think, why all this and all. Then COVID has taught us in a harsh way, right? Just so situations have given us in a different way. So using technology for personal things and all is something that I use very closely. So even this day I don't rely on maids. I do with the robovac and dishwasher. And the other thing, small projects, right? See, I am a movie bluff actually. Say, in ATP and all, teachers never, they used to show movies, but this is something that I have been doing, extends after marriage. So I want to have my own home theater set up at home. So we consulted. There are consultants who actually do home theater setup in our house. We checked with them. I'm just giving, I'll wrap up also fast. So they quote around 3 lakhs to 4 lakhs to have a proper home theater setup and all. But with the technology or the knowledge that I acquired, with the skill set, I have set up my own home theater at home. So I ordered projector from Amazon, which is what they quoted around 1.5 lakhs and all. I waited for Amazon sale and I got it for half the price. So I have got my projector, screen, sound system, everything set up, and I have my own home theater. Thanks to OTT, now I don't even have to go to theaters or watch. Everything I can watch. So technology, see, that is what the success definition we are saying, right? My way of looking things is, if I'm happy with the thing, I'll consider that as a success for myself. So no, self-centered probably. So this is how I've been using technology for my benefit. So which has, in fact, some financial savings for the family as well. You can think from the organization perspective also. There are many examples, but I just want to take from personal friend so that I'll feel more connected.
Thanks for sharing that. I'll bring you in, Shraddha. Given whatever we heard from a personal branding perspective and stuff, what would be your tip for, say, young women, Indian women? So let's take this audience in mind. How would they position themselves for a leadership role early in their career, right? So that they don't necessarily have to wait out a decade. How do they get into that mindset earlier?
Sure. A lot has been said about this since morning. And when I was listening to our speakers this morning, I'm like, do we really need to have this segment in the panel discussion today? But let me reiterate, okay? A few things which I know I have gained from. And this is regardless of whether you're a guy or a woman, all right? It is something that every young professional should probably be mindful of. No particular order, but a few things to keep in mind. Be very curious about what you're doing. All right? Go that extra mile, take that extra effort. Understand the how, why, what, when, where of things. Don't just restrict yourself to your domain. Try to extend beyond. You will be surprised that for example, if I were to share my examples with you, my story with you, I have gained more financial knowledge after understanding the marketing aspect of a business, or after understanding the logistics part of a business, or the operations part of a business. It makes your core domain starts to make more sense when you start understanding the other aspects of the business that you are operating in. There is no substitute to hard work. You just have to work hard. There is no substitute. You will require a support system. You will probably have to either bully people or, okay, I don't want to say bully, but you will have to make people support you, good, bad, ugly, however, which way you can. Your family is your biggest asset and your biggest support system. And I think everybody has touched upon that today. Finally, when you are stepping into your roles in your careers, the first 3-4 years is the only time that you can pursue perfection. That's because that's when you control your work. The moment you start managing people, you just have to let go of perfection, because then you have to, otherwise you will not be able to delegate. So you have to very mindfully, consciously stop pursuing perfection and start pursuing getting the work done. And there will be times you will come across brilliant team players who will probably surpass your expectations of perfection. There might be times when you will have to probably fill in the gap. But in either case, how much ever perfection you want to pursue, let me tell you, only till such time you are handling your job yourself. Another thing which I like, which I do, be proud of the work you deliver. Take pride that this is my creation, that I have contributed to this, and always deliver more than what is asked. If X is asked, X plus is what you should deliver. And, you know, whether it is content, whether it is presentation, even presentation is very important. I am not saying your presentation should surpass your content, not at all, but let your presentation be such that people, your audience is actually captured by the content that is actually captured, so that they listen to the content that you have. Sometimes we might have a lot of content, but if our presentation is shabby, or if our presentation is not something that, you know, meets the level, the content, it just goes waste. Nobody will pay attention to what you're saying. So just, these were a few things which I thought, they've helped me. So I do hope they will help you as well.
Thanks. I mean, pretty much the questions I had for this section. Maybe we can move on.
Sure. So now we will move on to the third segment, the third theme that we've planned for you today. And I'll request Kirti to take us through the theme of mentorship, sponsorship, and networking.
So, Tarini, so how can Indian women effectively leverage networking, mentorship, and sponsorship to advance their careers with local cultural context?
Okay, so you've heard a lot of this since morning, right? A lot of mentorship and networking and all of that. And you must be wondering, what's the big deal about all of this, right? I mean, so I've never met them before, right? But we connect in the sense, our alumni, wherever you go, you just talk to each other, say, hey, TP this batch, that batch, you'll connect, correct? Because there's a lot of common experiences we believe we've gone through, correct? So likewise, to connect with someone, you need some commonality. Yeah. So in offices or in any professional, personal, whatever space, please look out for one common factor. It could be the place you come from, or it could be a hobby or a area of interest. It could be the language you speak. It could be anything. Find something that you can connect on, and that will take you forward, right? Also, please don't network with the aim of taking something away, right? Always, actually, the more I speak about it, the more of a lot of Swami sayings come back. You are in touch with someone, you're networking from a place of giving. Okay, if you can offer something to that relationship, it will just come back to you through other means. It doesn't have to come back from the same person, correct? So, and when you're looking for, so again, why a network? Because typically you're representing your company in doing business. So if I need to get something done, I will look at the resources I have within my company, within my group. If I don't, then I'm going to go enlist the support of a partner, enlist the support of some third party, right? Because I know I have to get the job done. Now, how do you get to a partner or somebody in a short period of time? Because like ma'am said in the morning, your decision making time is very less. So I work on deal making. So which means I get an RFP or something that I have to respond to. In about 1 month, you're putting together, say, $150 million proposals, but then you're assembling a team. When you assemble a team, you're bringing people from different walks of life, right? Someone, so in a very tech parlance, you'll bring somebody who understands applications, how the UX of an application should be, somebody who understands where should that application sit on, right? And then there'll be somebody who will come and say, hey, I need to communicate this, but in English to the business owner on the customer side. He's not going to come and appreciate all your tech language. You have to tell him what is the business outcome for him, right? The same, whatever, the whole storyline has to be seamless with your finance guys, right? The person who's stitching together the story has to understand at what price point it is selling. So I need to make a call. Am I going to go trade off on a margin or trade off on my risk, contingency? So a lot of calls that you take at a short time. And to do that at that point in time, you need enough people in your network to help make those decisions, right? So therefore, networking becomes important. But as you go along, that networking is beyond just your company, right? And how will you keep your network alive? You will mentor people, you will seek mentors, and you will seek mentors in different people. Like they said, typically parents are your first mentors because you're seeing them, for a long period of time, they are all you see, right? And you think that is the absolute goal of perfection. And then once we all grow and then we start seeing more adults, more people we are exposed to, then you start imbibing qualities that you like in somebody, some other quality you like in another. And I resonate a lot with what Subhashri ma'am said this morning, where she said, you don't have to have one mentor because one size never fits all. You will figure one aspect of that mentor. I'll tell you whom I learned time management from, my mother-in-law, okay? She is not, she's not super educated, but you should see the finesse with which she does, right? Even if there are 20 people coming home for dinner, there'll be no noise in the kitchen. She'll effortlessly cook. You wouldn't know something is happening in the kitchen, but things will be laid out, right? The whole, how do you get things done in time with a great presentation, I learned from her. And I don't have a better example in my corporate life, but you can take those examples and apply it wherever you go, right? And I have a mentor from my current job, but she's moved on to another job, a very senior HR person, but I rely on her to understand how do I deal with situations. She doesn't talk tech to me, right? I say, hey, this is what happened. This was my initial response. Could I have done better? Could I have not? So there, you need these objective bouncing boards. And the last thing I thought I should touch upon, a common theme across a lot of people who spoke today is, enlisting the support of your children and spouse. And I'll pretty much drill down on spouse because I'm assuming for many of you in the next few years, that's probably the next milestone, right? You will, those of you who choose to marry, that's probably after work, the next point. Be it a guy, be it a woman, I think you can either really luck out or really get hurt badly, right? So the choice of a life partner can really make or break it, right? Because how much support are you getting versus how much peace of mind you have really depends on that. Yeah, because I didn't know cooking. I was married at 22, not even 23. Before I turned 23, they got me married, and I had laid down a list of conditions. Conditions like I should have worked for 3 years at least after Anantapur. Anantapur, I graduated at 19. By 22, 3 years was ticked. I said I have to make my own dollar money. I'm not going because of the guy I marry. I had already gone on site, made my dollars, right? So my mom said, okay, you asked for some, and I thought I had set the bar low later in hindsight. So I had given some 3-4 conditions. All those were ticked, and then by 23 I was married. The point is, it was my husband who taught me cooking, right? I had no clue of cooking, but it came easy for us in the sense, he also was fairly young. We just have a 2-year age gap. So through COVID, if I was sweeping, he would mop. right? The rules were very clear. There's no gender bias. And to that, I give a lot of credit to my mother-in-law because she raised him that way, right? So for us, like someone just said, just because you are now in a situation where there's no conversation of gender bias, we're all women here. But in your home situation, it may still be there. Tomorrow, when you raise families, please make it a point to teach your sons, right, that this is how it's going to be, because we're not going to, remove all of this in just one generation. Not happening. You will have to teach and then ensure they take it forward. You also have to teach your husbands, right, because they may carry remnants of whatever they are coming in with. But we have no such bias because we are taught, we climb in, on top of buses in our saris and tie luggages, don't we? So then why after marriage are we looking at the husband to come change the light bulb? We don't need to. If we are self-reliant, we're self-reliant throughout. If once we start projecting that, they will come to the kitchen and do the rasam next time, right? Because then there is no gender biases in the roles. We see a lot of those are also our own creation. Yeah. Exactly.
Exactly.
No, and I go, so it was very easy because early on when I went into it was a joint family, I moved in. And the very first day after marriage, I still remember my mother-in-law was waiting to see, do I want to come and take charge of the kitchen? And I said, no, I'm an awful cook. I don't know how to cook. And you're a great cook, I've realized, because I've tasted your food. So I said, please, if you don't mind, make that extra cup of tea and give me also. I would be happy to have. And then she was thrilled because I'm not entering her area, right? She's the queen of the kitchen. I'm the queen of the outside. So as long as whatever works for you, whatever floats your boat, figure that out. And then, I'm sure you will carve your path. Yeah, there's no bias that the external world has to create for you. You network wherever it is, professionally, personally, and look for these sponsors. The word sponsors is people who are invested in your growth, right? You will find that as much as we all, general norm is to say mother-in-law not making sense and all, you will figure out if you can have that conversation, they will be invested in your growth, right? Because they just need to know that you are also invested in them. That's about it. Yeah.
I would like to add a few more points for what sister was highlighting. So certainly choosing the best partner is one of the points that is going to decide how your life is going to be. And I certainly take this forum as a privilege to highlight the recent situation, right? My husband, he has recently completed 10th anniversary in Cognizant. So he received a call. He was working from home and he received a call and he was highlighting, 10 years you have completed, congratulations, what are your future plans and all. Really, I mean, I feel so happy, and I think this is a forum I need to highlight. There are men who really support, understand. So what his statement was, right? Anyway, my wife is running for career, so I would support her. That was his statement. Felt so happy. It was an not formal but informal way of taking things, right? Understanding. Say if I run behind the career, the other one should they will have career, but it is not, they run. Say if both husband and wife start running or chasing in this corporate rat race, right? Family will collapse. So one need to take care of family, because we are talking about Indian. See, that's what our values and things we are discussing, right? See, we need to have an understanding that needs to be clearly communicated. And this type of understanding is certainly a basic thing that will define our career or how our life is going to be. So open communication, and men who are like this, right? If we have more men like this, as Sister was highlighting, right? Even my son, I have to highlight the situation. I work in night shift. So my shift starts at 5 p.m. in the evening and I work till 2:30 a.m. in the morning. Obviously, my mother is there to support me. So I have a full-fledged support system to manage my career. But I feel I succeeded as a mom, because, usually when morning, he need to get ready for school and all, he has the basic thing, right? Mom is sleeping, I should not disturb him. So he'll just come before going to school. He'll just give me a hug and kiss and he'll leave. So I just remember Dwarkarani ma'am's second statement. I don't know you will become good daughter-in-law or not. She told me you will become good mother-in-law. That's what I was remembering when sister was talking. So I am blessed with a very good husband. And son, probably he is having a lot of understanding, right? So certainly, there are a lot of men who are actually supporting. As ma'am was highlighting, we may have women issues may not have support and all, but certainly there are men, and that is something that will change a lot in the coming days. So this decision is a major thing. So all the best. Next question. Yes, next question is, how can women support each other in breaking the glass ceiling? Yeah, men and women both, achieving leadership success.
Yeah, so I think we've already spoken to a large extent on this, but again on a lighter note, I think J.R.D. Tata was one of the first men who supported women very well, because I don't know how many of you have read of Sudha Murthy shooting off a letter to J.R.D. Tata and saying, why can't I be recruited into manufacturing just because I'm a lady? And he encouraged and got her. She was the first lady, as far as we know, into manufacturing, right? So not just since then, but I think more and more now we do see men are allies. They understand. We have heard the stories so far. Most of them support. The degrees could be different, and it's also about how we communicate with each other, our needs. But women also being allies for women is very important. And how I see it is because we are probably wired differently, as we have been hearing. The moment we are able to achieve something, we think that is the only way. And if another lady is suffering and reaches you, I have seen women tend to kind of show off, saying that I could manage this. I did it this way, so why can't you? Right? That
Why not?
I suffered, so why not you? Or I achieved this way. But as sister was saying, no two question papers are same. So my solution will not work for you. So that empathy, that saying, see, I might have had it easy in my life, or maybe I figured a way out. But this another, sister of mine or a co-worker of mine is going through something. At least lend a, empathetic ear to them, and if possible show ways. I think that's fundamental, which many times I have failed to see in the corporate world. Like through policies, companies tend to actually make women help groups, women returning to work help groups, etc., so that senior women who have succeeded are able to help them. But the conversations go a little toxic in saying through judgment rather than help, and so the young women shrink and shy away and walk away from there. So consciously, this is some request to all of you who enter the corporate world. Consciously help your fellow women to grow, right? Think twice before you put somebody down or judge somebody. That would be very important, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, but just to add to what sister has said, these women lib type of groups in corporates, they backfire. So maybe we shouldn't subscribe to them, or we shouldn't feel that by joining some sort of a women's lib group I'm sorted and all. It doesn't work that way. But yes, I personally I follow this principle that I will not subject anybody to what I have been subjected to, which I have been miserable in. Of course, if you have been treated well, it is your moral duty to ensure that you treat the next person better. But if you have not been treated well, it is also something that you should probably learn from, and learn how not to be, learn how not to treat. So from our side, as young women, you all will be entering the corporate world soon. See how you all can support other women. You can be their sounding boards. Let them give vent to you. Listen to what they have to say. Tomorrow, you might have to give a vent and listen, and they might have to listen to what you say, and learn from other people's stories, and be empathized towards them. I think that is how women should be able to support women. Now, moving on to, sorry. All right. Sure. You think so? The last one is an important one. So we now move on to the last theme of the discussion today, and that is around how the workspace has to adapt and have a more inclusive environment for women, of course, towards with corporate policy and government policy. And I request Sangeeta to please take this session.
Yeah, so I would, ask pointed questions, but I would request you to keep it brief in your answers so that we don't overshoot the time. So question to Shraddha. What needs to change in our traditional Indian workplaces to support women to move up the leadership roles?
So the first thing that I want to say, and I'm saying this very sincerely, we are not a victim, okay? Our success does not depend upon what opportunity I am offered or what platform I am offered, or my success does not depend because another male colleague of mine permitted me or allowed me to work on a project. It doesn't work that way, all right? I create my own destiny. I create my own path. I create my own opportunities. Stop looking for an environment that you can grow in. Start looking for how you can make that environment for yourself. Because more often than not, the world is a Kurukshetra. It is a battlefield. And if you have to operate in that battlefield, you have to create your own safe space. You cannot expect that the organization will do this for you or the company will do that for you. Yes, there are several things that organizations and companies do. I am not denying that. I'm very grateful to be working in an environment and in a company that has done so much for women empowerment. But please do not, please believe in yourself. Do not expect that others will create something for you. That is the first thing that I want to say. The second thing that I want to say in this regard is, the only thing that a woman needs is equal opportunity. She does not need anything else. She does not require reservations. She does not require quotas. She does not require that the bar should be lowered so that she can be accommodated. Boss, you tell me what I have to do and I will live up to it. All right? I don't want you to exclude me from something only because I'm a woman. Just because I'm a woman, she cannot stay late. Just because she's a woman, she might not be able to deal with the emotional trauma around this particular subject. Just because she's a woman, she might not be able to perform to the best. I don't want to be viewed with that lens of gender. I am capable, I will do what has to be done. And if I am not able to do what has to be done, I will gracefully step aside. So the only thing I feel that corporates need to do is, please give all its women employees an equal opportunity to prove themselves.
Excellent. Well said.
Actually, I just want to add one more thing. Okay, I had written it down, that we need to give our girls the courage to march on, and we need to give our boys the humility to accept the feminine energy. I think that's very, very important. Like how Tarini was saying, we have to. This does not begin at the workplace. This begins at home. So I think I really want to subscribe to what Tarini has said, that we have to ensure that the boys we groom and the husbands that we have to retrain are made to realize the power of the feminine energy.
Wow, really well said. And that leads me to the next question about, having said we are the Stree Shakti that, Shraddha sister has been mentioning, what are the benefits of diversity in our boardrooms or in the leadership levels? What do you see as the benefits, including women at these levels?
So, see, for me, the highest a woman can go in my company is at board level position. Very honestly, my ability to be a board member has nothing to do with my gender, right? I have said this, I have implied this, and I will continue to say this. Having said that, there are some very typical traits that nature has blessed us with, some traits that we have been bestowed upon and which we should leverage. The first thing, and I think all of us will agree, we are fantastic multitaskers. Nobody can multitask like us, all right? And this ability to multitask actually gives us the power to break down very complex issues into simple issues and then present it for larger benefit of the organization. That is the first thing. The second thing, I feel, women command a certain level of integrity, because they are extremely oriented towards compliances, towards processes, towards governance. They somehow are able to give a certain confidence and a certain integrity to the other stakeholders. Very often, you will probably trust a woman more than what you would trust a man. No offense meant to the men, but you will probably trust a woman more. And I think that credibility is something that any board would require. Then of course there is, this is my personal opinion. I don't know how many of y'all will agree with me, but I think women tend to take faster decisions. Because there are, in our quest to do so many things, because we have to multitask, it's like tat, 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 tat. You quickly go through what has to be done, and you deal with it, and you're done, and your decisions are taken. And I think any organization will benefit out of quick decision making, because decision making is probably the largest single important aspect to be successful at the workplace. That is one thing. And of course, see, this is something that can go wrong also, but if it is done in measured ways, I think the nurturing side of a woman can cause her to get a certain empathetic perspective to an otherwise very objective situation. And many a times she might be able to throw out ideas or opinions or perspectives which others might not be, purely because of her nurturing attitude, purely because of the fact that she will probably look beyond what is being said. She will probably read between the lines. She will probably be better at understanding body language or at understanding what is not being said. So I think these are a few things that a woman would get to the boardroom, and that the company would definitely benefit from.
Sure. And the last one actually is a double-edged sword, as you rightly said. Unless there's a maturity in handling that, it could backfire sometimes, but true. Moving on to the next one, what role does emotional intelligence play in helping women navigate complex leadership challenges in Indian organizations?
I think she kind of touched upon a lot of that, especially in the boardroom situation. I mean, we all know we are emotionally, I would think, they use the word wiring, right? Wired more, to read. The EQ is higher, EI is higher, emotional intelligence is higher, right? And there's a slight difference between the two. Your emotional quotient is about how you're responding and how you're handling, but our intelligence is good. So which is why we're reading between lines. We're able to, if someone's sulking somewhere, we also go fixing the root cause, as opposed to just kind of do a quick fix there and, close and move on. So I think there's definitely benefit to your question about what the woman brings to the room. Even within a simple closed door meeting, typically, I'm sure you agree, at your levels, you'll still probably be the only woman in the meeting many, many times, right? So then you would see that while everybody is agreeing or subscribing to a thought, you actually will come up with something which will sound wacko to them. But you will think, okay, that was very obvious. Why didn't they see that? Right? But that's probably our way of looking at things. And I would say, please keep that alive, because that actually, is what is really sought after, especially at the more senior levels. So continue to, if you think you're wacko, it's okay. Continue to keep that spark alive. And the only other side, which is the double-edged sword that we were talking, likewise in the emotional intelligence, the double-edged sword, is because we're doing this amazing level of multitasking, mental analysis. We do analysis paralysis, okay? We think about a situation from everybody's perspective. If this has to happen, then what will my husband do, child do, mother-in-law do, mother do, neighbor do? Everything we're trying to think on behalf of people, not needed. Sometimes put the situation and trust that everybody will also think for themselves. Yeah, so we don't have to think on behalf of everybody and solve world's hunger. Do what you can, but at the same time, bring your emotional self. Because early on in our career, it was really looked down upon. At least I remember that you were trying to be, someone said, right, aping the men. You are putting on a very, stiff self to yourself. But then I think it's okay. Everybody knows we're a bundle of hormones, and especially as with different decades in our lives, the hormones really play havoc. Right? As long as we accept that, I think we're okay. And you can just, just bring your, I think as sister said, your authentic self. And there is value to it. Yeah.
And I'll just move on to the last one. I know we're running out of time. So just to touch upon, how can governments and corporates actually do something to help women have a better career growth, better opportunities at workplace? What kind of policies can they introduce, and are they in place already? Yeah, I think if you
Yes,
could.
I would like to have some points for this one. So all corporates, I would say, certainly have a lot of special programs exclusively run for the women employees. I would say for my company Accenture itself, we have DOW, Developing Our Women. So this is a special program only for women to move into from senior manager to director and higher levels. So all organizations have some or other programs running for developing the women. So they are on it, and it is a mandate for the organizations as well. It's not just a favor that they are doing. It's a mandate. If they need to do this, say it is in place. Apart from that, from college level itself and school level itself, having so many workshops that make them aware of the situations is something that we can do. Like, see, this small workshop that we are having itself is an example. We are able to interact, know the things, and how mm, work for the better things and all. So this particular thing will help us. Promoting the career opportunities is the other thing that we can do for for the next generation. Say if we have some open opportunities in our organization and all, certainly we can propose or request the things. So there are some benefits as well. So let's avail, as women we can support other women in this type of things. And then some mentorship programs are also there. So these are certain things that we can incorporate.
And return to work policies are also heavily adopted. After a break, if you can want to come back, a lot of corporates actually encourage and have programs for that. And as she said, certain things are mandated by government, and that's how you get the support in corporate. Not just reservations, but things like posh policies and avoidance of harassment at workplace, etc. And we regularly go through these trainings. Both men and women have to go through these trainings and sign off every year that you have read and you have understood, and you are liable to action by law if you are violating this. So there are policies from corporate and government side that help us a lot. But I think I will end here with the final conclusion, saying that I think you should be just daring, learn to take risks, be ambitious, have hunger for success, and learn to communicate well, and you will certainly do well. Yeah. Thank you all so much.
Audience would like, do you have any questions that you want to?
This was when I was doing my research, and one of the things, you have this stereotype: men are from Mars, women are from Venus. Basically, it is to say that rationality is higher in men and emotion. I was just bouncing this off with a male colleague, and he said something which stuck in my head. I'm just clarifying whether this is true. He said, yeah, that's true, but in a different way. So I said, in what way? He says, women are emotional means what? They're comfortable with emotion. Hence, they show rationality more, because this is the undeveloped side. They project it more. So you will find that women in boardrooms or anywhere will be more rational. While men, the recessive side is emotion. So they, you will find, will talk about empathy, about taking people along and be mentorship champions when they are in organizations. Is this true?
To some extent, it is true. To some extent, I think as women, we tend to overplay the rationality card because we don't want to be seen as highly emotional. But right. But I think after you've sort of found your space with yourself, I think it's very important to find that peace with yourself. After you've found that peace and space with yourself, it doesn't matter. Because then you will just be your genuine self wherever you go. And your maximum acceptability will happen at that level. Whether right. Yeah. And Janta is not dumb. They understand who's being genuine. They understand who's just sort of wanting to make a point just to get some, popularity, win some popularity contest. So people understand that you're not being genuine, or you're just saying this because you want to, you're projecting yourself as a leader or stuff like that. So I think a man and a woman both have two different roles to play in a family and also in an organization. And there is enough and more room for everybody. I don't think anybody needs to feel insecure about the other person. And I also believe that if both were to join hands, what a fantastic place it would be to work. If we were to accept each other's strengths and acknowledge each other's weaknesses and complement each other, what a beautiful place it would be to work. And I really think that I really feel that this whole thing about gender and all, it's meaningless, and it's such a waste of resources and time.
Yeah, so we have received a question from them. In today's world, we have seen many children taking wrong paths as their working parents don't have enough time. How did you manage your early motherhood and work life, and how you made sure your kids are getting good values and are guided in the correct path?
I'll take that, and then I'm assuming everybody may want to add in. Trick question, okay, and a great question, because there's no easy answer. Each of us are figuring out, and motherhood to each of us is also very different, right? Because that question paper is really, it's like your 100-mark question, but a single question, no MCQ, nothing. So you're but even as a mother, I mean, while we are trying to balance the corporate and the home front, the way naturally it is children come to the mother, especially if they are sick. As much as you would talk diversity, equity, mother, father, everybody equal, the child first comes running to the mother to be calmed and soothed, right? So which means at that point in time, you have to prioritize the child, and especially it depends on the age of the child. If the child is really young, obviously you'll have to give it time. But if so I have two kids. My elder one, my daughter is 12 years old. She's in 7th grade, and my younger one's in the 1st grade now. So what happens is over time, I'm hoping, because my daughter's had the benefit of 2 sets of grandparents around her, very close quarters. And she knows that, okay, even if when she was growing, she was a child, I would still spend long hours at office, probably sometimes come home at 9:30. She would have already fallen asleep. But then I would ensure, again, it's a whole quality versus quantity. Otherwise, you're going on a guilt trip. Okay. The child doesn't remember how many hours you spent with the child. The child remembers how you spent it. Correct. So which means at the time that you're with the child, if you're there without, multitasking on Twitter and social media, the child will appreciate you. Because otherwise, it just takes a few more years for the child to do that back to you. When you are trying to seek and talk to your children, they are going to be on Instagram and Facebook, and then not even come back and respond to you. Yeah, it's just it's a two-way street. Now with the younger one, it so happened that his early ages were during COVID, and ever since I had my second one, I had the option of saying I'm going to work from home. Right, I'm not showing up at work. This was even pre-COVID, so I've been working from home for the last, I think, 8 years now. Yeah, but the point is this: if I really need something, I'm happy to come to my go to visit my clients for discussions. So I do travels to my client sites in the US one week as you need. But don't ask me to come every day, travel in Bangalore traffic to the office. I'm not doing it. So these are things I was able to negotiate. Why? Also because you're in this for the long run. Okay, so that's another point I wanted to make. Career is for the long run. Okay, your job may be short-lived in one particular company, but you're in it always for the long run. Okay, and at the end of the day, it's a small world. You will cross paths with people. So never ever operate from the sense that in another year I'm going to quit this so I can behave however I want. No, for all you know, this person's going to come and sit in your next company, or he's going to influence your next boss. Okay, just remember, if you're invested in whatever you're doing with a very long-term perspective, you will also operate automatically from that. So which means I know, okay, I'm in this particular of my 21 years, it so happened that I'm in this company on my 15th year. Okay, so right now I'm at the point where I don't have to necessarily go proving myself each time, right? So there is a base built. people know, okay, if you give it to Tarini, maybe today, if she's running to the hospital because the child needs her time, then she's probably going to come and comp off and she's going to make up for it later. All of these kind of add up, okay? That whole workplace integration she was talking about, right? Everything kind of builds. It's a beautiful question because at the end of the day, that mother identity kind of overpowers everything. You don't take guilt trips about being a wife and all. After a while, the guilt trips kind of come down to that mother ka point, where at some point you'll have to make peace with it, saying, no, I've done my best. And then you will also start seeing that your elder child is kind of pitching in, helping with the younger one. It kind of moves in. There have been pointed questions. People have asked me, don't you think you're making your daughter kind of behave like a second mother, this, that? No, I never asked her to. She's able to come in very easily fit into some roles and take up responsibility. Why not? Right? Yeah, she's the elder sister. She knows she's the elder sister. She's able to pick up some things for me. So why not? Right? So like that, I think, again, this question is like a summation of a lot of things we spoke. Right? No concept of work-life balance. It's work-life integration. Some days work takes more of you. Some days life takes more of you. And you got to get both parties to agree to that. There's no two ways about it. Your boss needs to know that your family will take importance on those days. And your family knows some days because something's happening at work, you will just leave everything and run. That's what it is. Right? So motherhood, I'll just pass it on. But no one mantra. You will learn it and there's no learning from somebody else. You will have to go through it, but just please don't take guilt trips. Not at all worth it. You're doing very well the way you're doing it. Yeah.
And just to,
Exactly.
yeah. So just to add to that, prioritization is important. So I think the question had about how do you bring values and how do you avoid them going off on the wrong direction. So as Suma ma'am was just saying, that children don't learn by what you say, but they learn by what they see. Right? You might tell it's wrong to be on the internet or wrong to be on TV for too long, but if you are on, they're not going to listen. Right? So, and prioritization, again, I'm coming back to saying, at different stages in your life, you have to decide, is this the point in time that I dedicate a lot more to career, or do I bring that integration a little more into my home life? So, for example, in my own case, first thing, you can dictate things and demand things when you are delivering things. So first, do your deliveries in your career properly, right? You are good at your work, people value you. Once they value you, you can dictate certain terms that work for you, right? So I could start telling, I will not take calls beyond 6 unless it's absolutely necessary, right? It's not that I'm hard and fast about it. There is a crisis in the company, some production issue. Yes, you're going to take, but not on a regular basis. Just like families in the US or the UK have their family life, I in India need my family life. So I drew those boundaries, demanding that I will not take calls after 6. And I chose a company which is based out of UK so that I have more common working hours between 2 to 6 and I can avoid having to take calls later. Now my children have grown. Just 3 months ago, I have moved to a US based company, saying now my elder care responsibilities are done, my child care responsibilities are done. Now I can look at my little bit of career growth as well. So these are choices that you continue to make all through, and that's where it's unique to each of you. But I valued the value system so much. I did not compromise searching for a Bal Vikas class, even if it meant I have to run around to get my children somewhere to a Bal Vikas class. That is non-negotiable. You want to run for a party? First Bal Vikas, only then party. That kind of prioritization. Birthdays, how do we celebrate at home? On the birthday, we have a bhajan and arati. It is only a following weekend or a previous weekend you have your cake cutting party with friends, right? So these are things that we introduced very early on. No sitting in front of TV and eating, right? Because Swami told us, what you see and eat, you are imbibing that. Now, as a mother, I should not do, nor will my partner do, nor will my children do. So it's so integrated into life. Like when COVID happened, 9 p.m. every day, we will chant Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu and Gayatri for the health of the whole world, not just for us. So these are things that I prioritized, right, in my life, and that's how I imbibed it. So it's all about the priority that you choose and how you try to integrate it back into your professional life as well.
Yeah, for this question, everyone will have our own unique answers. So, from my perspective, right, I actually believe and follow the statement, right? Your child doesn't need a perfect mom, but needs a happy mom. So, first, I adhere onto it. So, whatever I do, whether it is cooking, whether it is making the kids study, so as long as I feel happy, so conditions apply here, priority, choices, whatever sister was highlighting, right? So, certainly. So, first, I'll be happy, so whatever I do. So see, if I want my kid to learn music, how I did was, I myself joined the music classes with the kid. So when he was 5 years old, because I love music, I didn't had the opportunity at that time. So I joined with him. I sat with him for classes, music classes. We had the classes for 3 years, actually 5 to 8 years we had. So that's how I managed or had the things. And especially to highlight, right, how our parents managed, because my parents were working. So their way of taking care of children was trust. So they believed, right, whatever the decisions we make, whether it is in our marriage or whether in a profession or the college that I choose to study here in ATP, leaving the engineering college. So they believe this, but this generation kids, it is very difficult. So from day one, they needs to see us and inspire, right? Oh, my mom is this. Say when his teacher praises his mother, then obviously he'll be role model. So to make them good, first we need to be good. So that is how I am training myself to be better day by day, so that he will see and understand and incorporate the things. So choices, priorities certainly are things. And
Just to add one small thing about a happy mom. So the first child I had an option to take 9 months off with loss of pay, only 3 months pay. I chose that, saying it's my first and I don't know how to handle it. Okay. But in the 9 months, I realized if I'm going to sit and do only baby care, I'm going to be the grumpiest of moms ever. Okay. And my child is not going to love me at all. So I better get out, go to office, enjoy my life, come back and give her the quality time. And that's what worked better, because somebody who's used to doing a lot of productive, what you see as impactful work, when you're doing the same sweeping, mopping, washing, cutting, cooking, and back to nappy changing, you are just very dissatisfied. You're not achieving anything in a day, right? So that I could not take it. So I said, let me not be a grumpy mom. Let me go back and decide. And when, if they need my time in teens, probably I will sacrifice something and give them. But right now, anybody who gives them what they want, they are happy. It doesn't have to be mom. So I got my extended family to support me with all this. But yeah, it's important to have a happy mom for a happy child. That's all I wanted to say.
Also one more point which I don't want to leave undiscussed. So money, right, what we say, it might not give solutions for all the problems, but certainly temporary solutions will be there. So once you come into the outside world, you will understand for most of the problems, money would be the probable solution. Your child, after a certain stage, I mean, with experience, I can say, they will leave to hostels, they'll go. Then again, we should not be in a stage to regret our career, right? So at that situation, uh, so that's what priorities, choices will be there. But we should not feel guilt or regret, right? What I have spoiled my life for the kid and all. So get money, that will solve certain problems or temporary solutions, and other things are combination of choices and priorities will do. So money plays a vital role. I mean, people may debate, this is actually a debatable topic. Doesn't grow. Children will be highly independent. That is what I can experience. I have decided one thing, I should go back to work after 3 months. So I didn't have even any gap in my career. So that is what I have decided. But my child, the plus thing, see, people may have, see, everybody will pinpoint, they'll say, the society might pinpoint, but best thing what I feel, the positive way of looking is child has become highly independent. So this can happen only if parents are working or mom is working. Yes.
Now I request Dr. U. Suma Rao, Dean, Department of Management and Commerce, and Dr. G. Padmavati, Associate Head, Department of Management and Commerce, to felicitate the panel members. From leadership hacks to navigating challenges, we have soaked up stories that were real and raw. If these insights haven't fired up your ambition, well, you might want to check your pulse, right? Thank you, panel members, for that interesting and insightful discussion. My dear juniors, your questions and queries will be cleared through mails which will be sent to the panel members. Now, I would like to call my dear fellow mate and the valedictorian of this session, Ms. Gunda Navyasai. As the Institute Captain and Student Placement Coordinator, she has exemplified leadership and dedication. A consistently high achiever with a whopping 9.1 cumulative grade, she is here to enumerate the key takeaways from the day-long session. Over to Ms. Gunda Navyasai.
Thank you so much, Vasudha, for those kind words of introduction. So, before it is too late, Om Shri Sai Ram. In words of Jim Rohn, the challenge of leadership is to be strong, but not rude. Be kind, but not weak. Be bold, but not a bully. Be thoughtful, but not lazy. Be humble, but not timid. Be proud, but not arrogant. Have humor, but without folly. Today's workshop amplified about how this challenge can be better met by women. The session started off with how angelic light lit within us can help us navigate through external barriers. Mrs. Subhashri Sriram threw light on how external glass ceiling can be broken through finding a mentor, grabbing opportunities, being prepared for failures. The next speaker, Mrs. Rajashri Natarajan, took it to deeper level, focusing on breaking the inner glass ceiling. That is, when you have your God as your mentor, your dreams take off navigating through ambiguity into a larger divine plan. Post-noon session, starting with Mrs. Rajeshwari Natarajan, I could infer on how our Lord has put in the best integrated system to help us break the external and inner glass ceilings, and in the most subtlest way possible. The conscious decision lies in balancing out forces between speech and being silent, between learning and unlearning, between yourself and others. Thank you, ma'am, for highlighting the importance of purpose and intent. Truly, a leader's job role is to make more leaders. Today's session, the first two speakers spoke of mentor and God as mentor. The third speaker added on how that God can be found in everyone. If the discussion till then was a sumptuous meal, The panel discussion after it was the best sweet chocolatey dessert. The panelists discussed on how societal stigmas amplified by media stereotypes women, but yes, ignorance is bliss. Next, the answer to skill development and career advancement started with how leveraging strengths and acknowledging weakness can help us grow. The role of value system, multitasking, communication, calm confidence, innovation from this system plays a big role in career growth. To position ourselves as a leader from the beginning, a balance between perfectionism and delegation is necessary. The panel also threw light on how commonality is the undercurrent of mentorship, sponsorship, and networking. The panel discussion surely helped us bridge the gap between classroom, society, and boardroom. And sisters, I must say you all inspire us and help us win the war, Kurukshetra, just like how you're all doing it right now. Between all these Hayward thoughts, I thought I would put it in a more poetic way. In a world where shadows loom, we rise to break the glassy tomb. With mentors guiding hand in hand, together we will take a stand. So let us rise with hearts ablaze, empowered women in countless ways. From hills of north to coasts of south, together we will soar to greater heights. For every woman, a leader's light. In unity, we claim our right. I would just like to end with one thing. When one woman rises, we all rise. When we all rise, the nation rises. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, Ms. Navya. I consider it my honor to introduce Dr. G. Padmavati, a distinguished academician with a focus on human resource management. Dr. Padmavati holds a doctoral degree in management and has a strong background in both academic research and practical application of her expertise. Her research interests include workplace ethics, digitalization of HR functions, organizational change, and green HR management. Her leadership, expertise, and dedication have been instrumental in department's success and growth. She is the backbone of the department. I invite Dr. G. Padmavati to deliver the vote of thanks for the session.
Om Shri Sai Ram. And this is the only institute where a teacher doesn't have a competitor among teachers. Our competitor are our students. I know you have been listening our students doing MOC, and recently Navya Sai gave her valedictory address. Now I have a tension like how I'm going to deliver a better vote of thanks in competing with Navya Sai's valedictory address. Good evening, everyone. Exactly. Yeah. Good evening, everyone. As we conclude this inspiring event, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge and celebrate the remarkable progress women have made in leadership roles, particularly in India. The glass ceiling, once seemingly impenetrable barrier, is gradually shattering. This is mainly because of determination, talent, and resilience of countless women who have defined societal expectation and carved their own paths. Our ancient scriptures and traditions have elevated goddesses to position of supreme importance, reflecting a deep-rooted cultural belief in divine feminine. Saraswati, the goddesses of knowledge and learning, has been long associated with education. Lakshmi, the goddesses of wealth and prosperity, with finance. And Parvati, the goddesses of power and protection, with defense. That means women holds three important ministry positions: education ministry, finance ministry, and defense ministry. Till today. Okay? But also we have allowed men to hold one important position, our Narada, Information and Broadcasting Ministry. So these divine figures have served as inspiring models for women throughout history, demonstrating that leadership is not merely a privilege reserved for men, but a sacred responsibility that can be embodied by both genders. If you take India as a country, it has witnessed a significant shift in cultural and societal landscape, with women increasingly taking the leadership position in various sectors, starting from corporate boardrooms to government institutions. And this information or this transformation is not only a testament to the capabilities of women, but also a reflection of evolving social attitudes and growing recognition of gender equity. And today's conference, Women Leaders, are living proof of progress for a more equitable and inclusive India. And on behalf of the organizing committee, I stand before you today to express our sincere gratitude for the grand success of the Women in Leadership Breaking the Glass Ceiling, the Indian Side Conference. And this event wouldn't have been possible without the unwavering support of many esteemed individuals, and I would like to take this moment to acknowledge each one of them. First and foremost, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to our esteemed Chancellor Sri Chakravarti Sir for his constant support and guidance. I'm equally grateful to our respected Vice Chancellor Professor Raghavendra Prasad, whose encouragement and leadership has been instrumental in the success of this event. I would like to extend a heartfelt thanks to esteemed Managing Trustee Sri R.J. Ratnakar Sir, whose unwavering support and guidance have been instrumental in our journey towards excellence. I would also like to thank our Registrar Shrikant Khanna Sir for his continuous support and assistance, and also for the financial support for the workshop. We were honored to have Mrs. Subhashri Shriram, CEO of Shriram Capital Private Limited, Ms. Rajashri Natarajan, former CEO of CTS, and currently ma'am is holding a key position in Sathya Sai Vidya Vagini, to have as our guest. Your inspiring words and insights on leadership resonated deeply with all of us, ma'am. We are also grateful for valuable contribution of Mrs. Rajeshwari Natarajan, Managing Director of Deloitte. Your insights into leadership and breaking barriers have really inspired all of us. A special thanks to incredible panel discussion team. Ms. Tarini Iyengar, Ms. Kirti, Ms. Shraddha, and Ms. Sai Geeta. Your thought-provoking discussion on breaking the glass ceiling was truly insightful and engaging. Thank you very much. And I have to just make a point here. I called Shraddha and I told that we have a conference. Will you be able to come? The first, she told us, I will come. Second, she told, can you give me 1 day time? Because I have to get permission from my company. That's all. And immediately she accepted. She didn't even think whether she will have a support from the company or whether she'll be able to come, nothing. Immediately she told, I will come. So we have so many good people around us. Okay? Yeah. And I have to make a mention of 2 people who have to come, who were not able to come today. Ms. Malati, CEO at Aura Educational Services, and Ms. Sai Priya Vishwanathan, Senior Manager, Amazon, were unable to attend today's conference. I would like to specially acknowledge their keen interest and involvement in being a part of this program. Their support and enthusiasm truly deserves a lot of appreciation. And my heartfelt gratitude goes to our esteemed director, Professor Rani PL, and our esteemed warden, Meera ma'am, for their unwavering support and guidance for crucial in planning and executing the event flawlessly. And we appreciate the dedication of our HOD, Dr. Sai Manogar, for introducing all the eminent speaker to us and providing unwavering support even in his absence. I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to Brother Sai Prasanna for introducing Mrs. Subhashri Shriram, and for always being a pillar of support for our department. We thank Professor Pallav Kumar, our placement officer Vaidyanathan Iyer sir, and Professor Kshetrajna for their invaluable presence and encouragement. I cannot forget the contribution of the AV team, Mr. Raghuram and Ms. Tabasam, and our social media coordinator, Mr. Venu, for their tireless efforts behind the scenes to ensure everything runs smoothly. A special thanks to my DMC family, who worked tirelessly to make this event a reality. And my dearest students, whose meticulous planning and execution from designing of the invitation to setting up of the venue ensured the success of this conference. And normally conferences are run by teachers. Here the conferences are run by students. We are just behind them. They are the one who started with designing of the invitation, all decoration, all food arrangement, everything was taken care by the students. We were just standing behind them to see how they are performing. That's all. And I also want to extend my gratitude to all the office staff, Akkas and Annas, whose assistance was invaluable throughout. Finally, no event of ours would be complete without expressing our gratitude to our Swami. I place all our achievement at his lotus feet, thanking him for his blessings and guidance. Thank you once again.
I must say, ma'am, students are but a reflection of teachers. Guru Brahma. Our success is your blessing, my dear teachers and mentors. Thank you so much. As the session goes to a close, I request Dr. Rajashri Natarajan and Miss Sai Geeta for Mangalarati.
शशिवदना सर्व प्राणपति स्वामी सर्व प्राणपति आश्रित कल्पलतिका आश्रित कल्पलतिका आपद्बान्धवा ओम जय जगदीश हरे मात पिता गुरुदैवमु मरियंतयु नीवे स्वामी मरियंतयु नीवे नाथा नाग ब्रह्म जगन्नाथा नागेन्द्रशयना ओम जय जगदीश हरे ओंकार रूप ओजस्वी साई महादेवा सत्य साई महादेवा मंगलारति अंदुको मंगलारति अंदुको मंदर गिरिधारी ओम जय जगदीश हरे नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण 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 ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण 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 ओम नारायण नारायण ओम शांति 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 समस्त लोका सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्त लोका सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्त लोका सुखिनो भवन्तु ओम शांति शांति शांति। जय बोलो भगवान श्री